It's time to go live right here on Thinking Critical YouTube for the Comics Aficionados. Your Saturday morning delight is here. We're going to talk about all the happenings within comic books. We've got big retcons, we got big events, we got people still freaking out over an op-ed put out 3 weeks ago, and it's been quite the time. I nailed down the guy that's going to help me review all the way through Middle World first issue, all the way to Big Game, as well as Planetary 1 through, is it issue 27 at the end, Doc?
Yes, sir. Plus, are you going to also include? Are you also including Planetary Justice League, Planetary Authority ruling the world, and there was a third one?
No, I'm just going to read Planetary with John Cassaday and
That's the way
and Warren Ellis.
Yeah,
and then we'll find something else to hit.
Yeah, just
the
stick
Middle
with the
World
main
stuff's going to
27.
take us 2 years to get through since we're doing one issue a week.
So who are you doing with that? With the doc?
No, it's only a doc. Doc couldn't fucking review a comic book in less than 20 minutes every week, especially one that he liked.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I had to find someone a little bit shorter. But I'm going to reveal that next week. They're going to be I believe they're going to be a guest on the panel next week, the newest member, I guess, of the Thinking Critical family. So that should be a whole lot of fun. So I'm excited. I got that one nailed down. The next schedule for next year is all, at least initially, hashed out.
So you got Mark Miller to do
I
it.
was going to say it's Mark Miller anyway.
Miller World with me. You think he could talk about his own comic books in less than 20 minutes?
Oh, I thought it was
He freaks out.
Planetary.
Yeah, he probably would blow up on Planetary too. Oh man, so exciting stuff. We're coming to the end of the year. I'm going to have to get my top 10 comics and worst comics and top 10 writers of the year and all that stuff nailed down. So it'll be good stuff. But we are going to talk about the here and now. We're going to live in the now this week, and we do have live from Japan, Gray, another expat, but you're from England. Obviously, I'm from the U.S. How you doing, Gray?
I'm doing good, thanks. But I'm trying to find me Genkiness wares. I kind of lost me Genkiness recently.
You lost that thing that makes you quintessentially British.
Yeah, I've lost that thing that makes me quintessentially positive. I'm famous for being very positive, foolishly positive at times, but I kind of lost that recently. Yeah.
You need to start a DM like little group with Eric O'Sullivan. He can find the bright side in anything.
He can. He's amazing. And shout out to Eric. He's in the chat. How you doing, man?
Man, so you're having a tough go of it, and this always happens when you review modern comic books. You're going to hit this wall where you're like, I don't think I can take anymore. And then you have to be a little bit more choosy on what you cover, and then you know the love comes back and you're able to tolerate it again, Gray. It's just a phase. It might last a week, it might last a month, but you'll be able to push through.
I'll be okay, I think. It's mainly because Big Game finished and the Mark Miller comics have all finished for this year. But he's talking about, Wes, isn't he? He's talking about some big releases next year, hopefully.
Well, at least we got 2 events kicked off this week. We got Gang War and we had Beast World.
Oh, God, Gang War. Is that the one where Miles Morales lectures Peter Parker about responsibility? Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that one wasn't a high moment for me. I liked one of the events, at least to kick off, but that one wasn't it. Obviously, we'll talk about those 2 bad boys here coming up. But listen, turn that frown upside down. You know, hit a little bit of the... What was it? The Scrumpy Jack? Who's the
Scrumpy Jack is a famous cider from England. Yes,
yes,
I'm not a cider drinker though. Whereas I like a good Scotch or a nice bitter. But yeah, great to be here. I'm only joking. Thank you so much for having me on.
It'll give you the bad hangover though.
Yeah,
it'll make you a little dizzy because it tastes so good. You think you don't realize you're drinking alcohol. Like this is apple
I wasn't
juice.
dizzy till I saw Josh tonight, and he makes me dizzy every time.
Well, Josh does have that effect on men. We've known that for a while.
It's because
Josh
I spike your drinks. Yeah.
You took no roofies in here. You took a couple of weeks off, Josh.
Yeah, it's
probably
gone for 2
working
weeks.
or whatever.
Yeah, working.
Working for the man.
Working for the man. You know, I'm excited to be back. I'm really excited to be sharing the screen time with your left nut, Wes.
Well, it's got more talent than fucking Tim Sheridan.
Absolutely. That's why I was excited. I was like, I'm glad to be back, but now that I know how talented Wes's left nut is, I can't wait to be on the stream.
At least 10% of my creativity comes from the left nut. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Love it. No,
So how you been, Josh? Are you back on comics again? I know you were in a rut as well.
Yeah, I'm back on comics. I can't say that I'm necessarily back on the big two. I would say like 95% of what I'm buying is our indie books. And they're hit or miss, but I'm probably going to trade weight most of DC and Marvel.
It's not a bad way to go about it. Yule, can you believe this shithead? He just sold out to the fucking Barnes and Noble trade weight and shit, man.
I understand. People.
That's not how you support your retailer. Call him out. He's a shithead.
No, not at all. I mean, if you're not going to Barnes and Noble or Amazon and all those other things, if you're a comic creator and your book is coming out and you don't tell people that you can get it on Amazon for like 80% off, you aren't a dickhead. But if you do all those things, you might be a dickhead.
So Yule, we're seeing a lot of retailers are speaking out, way more than I've seen basically since I started covering comics all at the same time. Are you seeing it in the back channels as well, like with your little retailer groups? Or people?
No, I don't.
Pins and needles?
No, I mean, it's like
You're
I'm on Facebook. I don't.
You can't conform to your retailer peers.
No, because they're all idiots. We're all idiots, is what I should say. We're all
true.
idiots.
I'm an idiot.
Even the very successful people are pretty stupid.
Because honestly, because those of us that have thought about or decided to get into retailing, well, if we were really that smart, we would have found something with a much better profit margin.
Exactly. Well, I mean, that 60-cent comic I bought then can make me some good money now, but there's only so many of them. There's only so many purchasers of those things too.
So were the big events, were they hot this week? Were you able to tap out on them?
Yeah, I kind of, being a one-man operation, there's times I screw up, and I actually didn't get the first Strike Spider-Man book. But Luke Cage...
You didn't order it, or you didn't receive it?
I didn't order it, and then I will be receiving it. So next week I should have it. It's okay. Luke Cage sold out. Miles Morales sold out. I didn't order.
Did they know that that's not a part of the event? Because I was confused as well.
It says Gang War on it, and that's all that really matters. So I upped my numbers slightly. I kept my numbers for the miniseries pretty steady, and then I sold out of those. X-Men Blue Origins. Spider-Woman I did not sell out of yet, but I knew that was going to be a bit of a harder one. That's a Steve Fox, right?
Steve Fox. That was
terrible.
Yeah, but nice. I think they had nice art though, if I remember correctly. But
you might not be remembering correctly.
Maybe I'm wrong on that one. I mean, I only looked at the Spider-Man that did the preview for it, so I thought that one looked good.
When are we getting the Miss Marvel Gang War issue? Since her and Spidey are so, tied.
Well, she's dealing with that whole X-Men thing, so I don't know if she has time.
Yeah,
for
she's
that.
in the Fall of Mutants. She's the leader of the X-Men team now. Did you know that?
It's Miss Marvel. She can be everywhere. I mean, come on.
She's like Wolverine in the 90s.
That's right. Everyone is beating down their LCS's door to get whatever Miss Marvel content that's getting released by Marvel.
But did you sell out of Beast World, or are you more of a Marvel shop than DC?
Almost actually. My numbers for Titans aren't that high. Like they've been dwindling, of course, as titles go on, or as Tom Taylor comics go on. But I'm just joking, Tom.
We're not.
But Beast World was amazing illustrations in there, and definitely worth picking up. And yeah, they had multiple covers, of course. One was a lenticular one. And I am almost sold out of them. So way to go, Tom Taylor, Beast World, and DC.
Yeah, well, obviously we'll talk about those events and how they matched up this week with the fellow aficionados. But first, we need to talk about Jim. Jim, this is our third day in a row.
Yep.
We did our Hot or Not podcast for the Patreon on Thursday. Then yesterday, you filled in for Aaron, who's at LA Con right now. He had a personal issue come up. We couldn't do our Geek Fix podcast this week. You step up on short notice, so we did that for 2 hours yesterday, and you're going to do another 2 hours with me today. You must love me, man.
I love you. I love you so much, and you hate me, so it works out.
What are you talking
all
about?
my
Hate?
relationships. That's how it all works out for me. And then I got done. You could tell I'm not going to have a voice by the end of this. When we got done, I ended up recording like 7 books for our podcast from DC this week, and 7 books that as I was doing them, I was thinking, I'm the only one talking and reading these books, like Cyborg, City Boy, things like that. I'm like, what am I doing? I made a bad decision. We said about bad decisions. If we were all, smarter, this would be a true crime aficionados probably right now, and then we'd all be rolling in the dough. But hey, here we are. And with that, I think you're the one who almost killed me this week. So we
how did I almost kill you?
Just with your positivity.
Was it because I made you laugh in
big
front of
heart?
your wife,
yes.
and she doesn't like that you don't laugh in front of her?
She was mad at me after that yesterday when we recorded the pop deal.
She's jealous.
Well, she heard me talk about me and you laughing and her being mad, which made her even more mad because
you guys dating now.
Yeah. So she was.
We don't
really
like
yelling.
to find it, Gray.
Yeah, exactly.
It is what it is.
Bromance. So yeah, she was yelling at me again and wanted me to explain, and I said then, "You're not funny," is basically what I said, and then she got even more mad, and I just walked away, started recording things.
Walk away.
Yes, that's what I do.
That's not the way you do it, Jim. You've got to you don't want to full up lie, but you can massage the truth a little bit and be like, you know what?
I could.
Your humor is more subtle, and
Yes.
I get it, but it's not laugh out loud.
I'm not much of a massager, is what I think is going on. Because my wife has learned not to really ask me those kind of questions.
The
like,
truth, the whole truth.
Do I look fat in this? Yeah. And I kind of think that I'm like, kidding, but she doesn't look at this that way. But hopefully things don't go flying past my head this week. Then that would be a plus.
Well, the alternative is that they hit your head.
That is true. That's true.
So I would definitely prefer the going flying past your head.
Then we'll do that. The next time I'm not even going to mute them. We'll just stop and you can listen to the destruction that is my house and life. It's bad.
Oh, come on, Jim. Nobody wants to hear that stuff. I just want to pretend you're joking. I don't want to know the harsh reality.
I'll just keep peeking in. I'll hit the I'll unmute. You'll hear just yelling. You might be demonetized immediately, though, so I better not do that.
Yeah.
I thought that was Doc's job.
We had an all right week, Jim.
Yeah. I had fun. All the things that we talked about, and there's some comics coming out. They might not all be great, but we found some things to like.
Yeah. And we did the Geek Fix in the first 25 minutes was us bitching about our wives.
Yeah, that was the best part. I said to you, I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I'm obviously not Aaron Sparrow, but I go in and I'm like, okay, well, now I know what we're doing here. We're yelling about our wives. That was fun. It's like an endless
talking about our impending deaths via poison.
Yes, exactly.
My goodness. Yeah. Doc, do not follow Jim and I down this dark path. Don't get married, man. Just do what you're doing.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to not follow you down and just continue down the same road. It's fine. I'm good.
So you are good. You and I are going to review X-Men Blue Origins #1 tomorrow from Size Barrier.
Oh, fuck you. All right.
Or I'm sorry, it's on Monday. We'll record it tomorrow, but I'll edit it up and put it up on Monday. Unless you support the Patreon for the Doc is Right tier, and then you get all the Doc unedited stuff day that we record it.
Oh, that's... Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that whatever comes out of my mouth is definitely going to get you demonetized here. It's going to take hefty editing.
I'm good at editing you now.
I know. You become very, very good at it.
It sounds pretty coherent when you listen to it, but if you listen to the unedited thing, it's not very similar. The tone and the idea is similar, but the words are not the same.
No, very much no. It's a lot of shit that'll get you in trouble on YouTube. But Patreon, let's get away with that kind of stuff.
AL is so full of it. I'm sure your wives complain about YouTube. My wife doesn't have a complaint. I'm basically the perfect husband. Jim, I'm assuming you're in the same boat.
I don't know. At one point, I saw that she was texting her one friend, and she called me the warden. That kind of pissed me off.
Never mind.
Yeah. So there's some shit
His
talking
wife
going on here.
complains about him too.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
goodness.
I'm
You're
pretty
the warden,
sure
huh? I thought you were the giggler.
warden. Yeah, whatever. I wear many a coat here, a guy's. I don't know.
Giggles, Jim.
But the problem is what she does is she didn't want to go out, so she blamed it on me as a lie, and then called me the warden. So
I'm cool
That's
for
what
that.
pissed me off. Yeah.
When Jim, when you have a disguise, is that like rec rap?
It's rec rap. I go around
Special needs
like
Spider-Man.
like an idiot. I go around rec rap.
Jesus, I can't stand it.
Well, that's good
short
stuff, Jim.
bus Spidey.
Yeah. Yes.
The Spidey that needs a helmet.
Yeah. Short bus Spidey. That is the deal.
Well, we're not trying to get you in trouble. That's the thing that you need to know.
Okay.
We're just
Good.
trying to have a good time. It just so happens.
Well, yeah, I'm sure
Man,
she's like
EK
over there with
guy
her.
is out of his mind. Filipino women don't get needlessly angry. It's like I don't know who you're talking about. Like when I was in the military, there were stories like you'd hear them from the SPs, because those are the guys who'd have to go to the base housing or whatever, and you'd see like a 6'3", 200-pound Marine, completely bulked up, on the ground crying with his 5'5" Filipino wife with a fucking frying pan
Screaming.
over him. Yeah.
The
Filipino
passionate
women are
right?
known for
Wes?
for being very passionate.
Yeah.
And that's a nice way of saying going off the handle every once in a while. Well, that might just be a woman thing. I don't know.
Might be.
It's definitely it's not your woman, right, Jim? She's pretty grounded.
Relaxed, grounded.
Yeah, she's
very
relaxed.
caring, big heart. See, I say those things low. I should yell those things and then keep the other things low. I don't got the game down.
Oh my goodness! So we had some fun stuff happening this week, but before we get to that, we do have some super chats to hit. Lane Kramer says, "So far, Nightcrawler is the retcon that's worse than the Draco." Those
I know.
are strong words.
More of the same, right?
Well, it actually somehow got worse.
I mean, I remember the outrage when the Draco story happened in the store because, like, only people are buying it, that want it, or they found out there's some controversy now. But back then, people were buying X-Men no matter what, and when that happened, woof.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Draco was it was a mistake.
It was a big mistake.
It was a very big mistake.
X-Heads hated it.
Yeah, we really did. Honestly, we hated most of what Chuck Austin did during his tenure on X-Men. But the Draco was a particularly low point. And somehow
We'll see if we hit that. We'll see if we hit that on Monday, Doc.
Yeah, I'm
could
going to
be.
shut up.
No, we'll talk about it more.
Reporting
Obviously,
disaster.
everyone's wanting to talk about it. Alb says, aside from the elephants in the room, which we definitely will get to, good news, Godzilla is doing well, and I got a second chance on Twitter. So it's the same name with 73631. So you're out of Twitter jail, huh? I don't know what they were thinking with that one. Everyone's
And he
talking
got
about
sent with
this,
a Twitter gun also.
the Godzilla movie that everyone's loving up so much.
Godzilla minus
Are
one.
you a big Godzilla guy, Gray?
It's the movie of the year for me, Wes. I saw it 3 weeks ago in Japan. Absolutely blew me away. I've not been moved by a movie like that in a long time.
Godzilla made you cry.
Didn't make me cry, but I was just like blown away. Seriously, it's not just the Godzilla scenes which are epic. It's the human story. The Japanese seem to understand that you're supposed to write good characters, with a story that pulls you in and makes you care about them. There we go.
By the end, your kids were rooting for Godzilla.
He's like what you call it? He's not a sympathetic villain. What a surprise! In this, he's an unstoppable force of absolute, destruction. It's terrifying in the beginning. It's so good.
Seeing scenes on my phone, it looks really great. I got to get my ass.
Godzilla -1 or something. Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a sequel coming out soon. I think it's Godzilla +1, and I'm his +1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to check that out. Ryan Wilson says, "Please tell me you're covering Mystique birthing Nightcrawler coming out of the wrong hole." Also, Beast World was actually decent. We will be covering that. Like I said, Doc and I are going to do a full review of X-Men Blue Origin #1 on Monday, and we are going to talk about it here today too. That's going to be the first topic. Are the two big retcons, obviously, to Nightcrawler as well as Mystique, but also with Alan Scott as well. Oh my goodness, the dogs. Lade, you had the best reaction when I called him and told him the retcon for Mystique and Nightcrawler. Bleep no. You said, "Gosh, no."
Something like
in an
that,
angry
yeah.
voice.
Yeah, I was like, Lane's really good for me and my business because the minute he calls, I usually get a customer coming in.
Oh yeah, when you got the expletives coming.
Yeah. No, seriously, no. He calls, and then that's right when someone comes in. It's like, oh, Lane, I gotta see you later.
And he also says, Godzilla -1 cost only $15 million to make. Well, that's what you're talking about.
I've
it
heard
sounds like
cheaper even, but they might not have to pay their actors that much.
Ooh, you shots fired.
I'm guessing. I only imagine in other countries it's not.
Yeah,
the
I
same,
don't know.
Adam Frey, being Catholic, I'm calling the low point retconning Kurt's priesthood and give him exploding communion wafers. Thanks, Chuck Austin.
Wait, was he Catholic?
Yeah, he was.
He was Catholic, Christian. I wasn't sure.
No, he was a Catholic.
Yeah,
was he like in Germany? Are you sure?
Yeah, Germans tend to be very Catholic.
Oh, there's another thing. But,
and Protestant, but mostly
Europeans in general until you get to England where they abolished the Catholic Church.
Yeah. So no, he's very Catholic, and yeah, the exploding communion wafers was kind of weird. There was a lot of weird.
You don't say.
There was a lot of weird in Chuck Austin's run, but at this point, I would take that over what we're getting. I think it actually might be a step up.
Well, thank you very much, Adam. We also need to say thank you very much to the Patreon supporters. We got 2 new Patreon supporters this week. James Hull, a.k.a. the Icebreaker, protecting the people of Blizzardburg, and Joe Mulaney, a.k.a. Soul Force, protect the people of Spirit Ridge. We need to thank Infamy or Death, a.k.a. the Black Hole, protector of Uranus, Dominic Mason, Stoneheart, protector of Heroes Harbor, and Jessica Gunther, Gutty Golden, the protector of Radiant Ridge. Definitely want to say thank you very much to all the Patreon supporters. We got bigger plans coming in 2024. We're also going to have channel memberships starting in the not too distant future. And if you're interested, there is a link in the video description. If you'd like to support the channel and get all the extra stuff we're doing there, a podcast featuring myself, with Doc, with Jim, with Aaron Sparrow, and I've got another guy covered up to do these extra reviews that we're going to do with Middle World as well as Planetary. Am I blurry? I feel like I'm blurry right now. There we go. Now I'm a little bit clearer. Let's get to the big topic everyone's talking about. I thought everyone was going to be talking about the events, but they're actually talking about the retcons. We had a Nightcrawler retcon. We had an Alan Scott retcon. We know where Doc's going to be leading on this one. Yule, you seem like an arbitrary kind of guy. Which one did you think was the worst retcon this week? Nightcrawler having 2 moms, or the Alan Scott got his Green Lantern from Trans Billy at the insane asylum?
Yeah, I so like Doc and I were already saying, and whoever the super chat was from, Nightcrawler has already had a bad go of it, and this is just like a little bit of it's the whipped cream on this shit sundae. I think Alan Scott all the way is the way we should be looking at this. He's a lesser character than Nightcrawler in the grand scheme of things, except for his like age. Like, I think Nightcrawler is more known, and when people think Green Lantern, they're not talking about the guy that can't affect wood, except now he can anytime he wants.
Sure can.
Yeah. Not with his ring. Wrong ring. But I think Alan Scott's probably the way. Was that good with him, Josh? Did you like that? Alan Scott.
Did you see that shit? He's a Trump supporter. He gave the sign. Oh my goodness, Josh.
Well, he's from Texas, right?
I am from Texas.
Rootin' tootin'.
Alan Scott. Sorry, I'm kind of derailing this. Alan Scott. That's me, 100%. Alan Scott. You want me to?
What did you think about it, Gray? Were you a big fan of the Alan Scott changes? It's not a very well written series. Just what do you think of not even the retcon, but the writing? The fact that the issue number 2 had nothing to do with anything in issue number 1 to progress the story, and you're going, man, what a shitty comic book writing.
I tried to read issue 1. I got maybe halfway through it, and it was just really boring. Nothing to do with the gayness and all that, but I just thought it wasn't very well written. So I haven't even looked at issue 2. But I've heard a lot of the conversation about it, and it just sounds insane. So what was going on? He was in Arkham Asylum, and
he checked himself in to go through conversion therapy. Conversion therapy,
and that's his origin now, is it?
Well, it's part of his origin because his roommate was a cross-dresser. Well, I'm not sure. I think it's a cross-dresser named Billy that's also gay that was also going through conversion therapy. And Billy found a scrap of metal, and it made him think of Alan Scott. So he turned that scrap of metal into a train lantern and gave it to him, and then got a lobotomy and became straight again because of the lobotomy. And Alan was so horrified by it, he sprung all the other people in Arkham Asylum and got on a train and fell in love with another dude, and then he became the Green Lantern.
Okay, that makes perfect sense now. Thanks for explaining that.
Yeah, I'm glad I cleared it all up for you.
Yeah.
Gibberish.
Jesus.
It's not a good book. I think I read the first Titans Academy that he did. And it's 2 pages in, and it's a lecture. And I'm not, kind of like Wes says, I'm not one of the guys that's like really big on caring about a lecture or, some sort of change to the character. It's Marvel, it's DC, it's comic books. I expect this kind of stuff usually.
Yeah.
But when it's so, god damn, man, it's like every aspect of it is just like, it's like he's needling is what Tim Sheridan is. He's a needler. And it's just like every bit of it is just like not what you want to read.
When you have Quilt Girl explaining pronouns to the one dude. I think
it was horrible. That rag character or whatever it was. I don't what
quilt person.
Well, I
don't
think
give a fuck what you are, you rag.
I think that is Tim Sheridan's only way to make himself relevant. I don't think he's capable of. He would be so quickly forgotten because he would be so utterly ignored. He would very, very quickly become somebody that nobody even talked about how bad they were because they just stopped buying. So he needs to go out there and needle and poke and it's his way of self-promotion because he can't do it on talent. Or
if you read a Shazam miniseries, it's just as bad, and it has
an awful writer. That's plain and simple. Yep. He's just a terrible comic book writer who is trying, like you said, needle people to get relevant and make these videos attacking people. If he had talent, maybe that would mean something, but he doesn't. He's just horrible. And that's
why Tom King's frustrating because there is talent there.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, it started out so good, and then he Tom King'd it. You're like, why do I fall for it every time? You don't have to worry about that with Tim Sheridan.
No, he's bad. And that's why, again, you have this Alan Scott retcon. He goes into this. This isn't anything about Alan Scott Green Lantern. It's just and you have to do more than that. The character isn't the most well-known character, and you got to go into it thinking of it as a new character since you are retconning it and try to explain, try to show what makes this character good, not just what you want to throw at people and shove down their throats. And so by the end of it, even people who maybe like the change, they're not going to read this because it sucks. I mean, it's bad. People don't read shitty comics. People drop shitty comics no matter what's going on, and that's what happens. It's horrible.
So Jim,
people don't read shitty comics. YouTubers do.
Yeah, well, we have
to talk about it.
That's true.
So
we're not people.
Yeah,
we really aren't people.
Since you're talking about the retcon, is this you admitting that Tim Sheridan turned Alan Scott gay?
No, 10 years. Yeah. That's the thing, though. When you end up doing this, you then have to get everybody, like, at least people may not agree with it, but at least show why you do it and why you think it's not necessary, but why when you end up having to fudge it so much in the second issue that a roommate in Arkham Asylum sees a green piece of metal, fashions that into a lantern because he just thinks that, then gives it to Alan, who then hits the rails like a hobo, and then that train goes off. The train of this whole thing went off the rails second page of this first issue. Second issue, Everything. It's like, oh, that makes sense. Nothing makes sense. This isn't a clever retcon. It's not
Even
getting
retcon
something
the
from
James
the past.
Tynion retcon.
Yeah.
Hold on. I need to ask a question here. Is there a now this is directly directed to Josh. Is there a thing about being gay and being a railroad riding hobo? Like, because between this and that Captain America,
Yeah, really.
I
just
need
thinking
to
of that,
know,
yeah.
is there
Yeah.
a thing here that I'm unaware of?
Not unlike a mutant that left home because their parent didn't love them. They get on the train track.
They're
you know
third
what I mean?
rail boys. They hit there.
Exactly.
They head off, right? Eating hobo chili.
And
I
in
don't know.
fact, that's the reason why mutants and homosexuality go so well together. It's like peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah.
They're on
Maybe-
the same train.
Maybe the term like he or she got railed.
That's right. That and also that they always
You know
end
what
up
the
in
other
the
thing
caboose.
about this, Jim? When you read the comic book, he's thinking about the pronouns. Oh, I said the wrong pronoun.
Yeah.
Pronouns.
Oh yeah,
as
it's
if
terrible.
anyone thought that way.
Except
in the
that was
30s and
something then.
40s.
So
And when they were talking, I'm just a big. It's like they were using all like 1980s and forward vernacular talking
No, yeah.
about themselves.
Because he's
It was
horrible.
so bad.
yeah,
And then
And-
he's trying to force the thing. He needs to get on that train because he wants to get back to the original type of origin. But even at one point, Alan says to the roommate, "Oh, and you didn't even know that I'm a engineer." Like, what the fuck is going on? And it's bad. And like you said, you lose track of the time period because of the vernacular, because of some of the things going on. And then you realize by the end, when you get the cliffhanger, pretty much was the first issue cliffhanger, then you're like, this is a bunch of bullshit.
What is the
it
time period? Is it 1940s or 50s?
Should be
Yes.
30s.
Yeah.
1940s.
It's late
When-
30s,
early-
Okay, that's pronouns were very, very important back
Yes.
then. Did you not know that?
That's why we fought
No.
World War II.
Yeah,
It is.
They call that the pronoun war in my house.
Yeah. Hitler misgendered the president or the
Exactly.
prime minister of the United Kingdom and put us at war.
Yep.
Yes.
Is that what happened?
Yep.
He didn't use they them. They're like, fuck it, we're
For
doing
Church, Churchill got all
Churchill, yeah.
offended.
Started
Yeah.
yelling things about smoking them cigars. He got all pissed off. So,
I'm gonna say to Wes's point, like it's just poorly written. And if you go back to
Yeah.
Earth
So
2,
bad.
that's actually not bad. Like I
No.
enjoyed Alan Scott in the Earth 2 story when they first made him gay.
He wasn't.
when did that come out, Josh? 10 years ago.
2012, 2013.
That was
yeah.
pretty good. That was really good. And while people didn't like it, you can accept it a little more if it makes sense and leads to good stories, which that did.
Yep.
People are going to like what they like. That's fine. But at least do it in a way that you're not trying to shove it down. You're actually wanting to, do
at
different
least try.
and good stories. Just, give it a try.
Well, he's
I mean,
still a
yeah.
superhero that experiences loss of, when he becomes Green Lantern and stuff like that. There's more to him than just that.
I mean,
him being a gay character.
we should
There's
have
that
known
he was-
incident, and then
Establish that this guy that died that he wanted to marry is the love of his life. And you're in the end of the second issue, and he's making out with another.
He's making
dude.
out with
Like,
another
I thought
guy
he
that
was
felt
fucking
Oh, really?
important. What
Oh,
are you
yeah,
doing?
yeah.
Really?
Listen,
Yeah.
Yes.
if you've been to West Hollywood,
yes.
it's not.
This
It's
isn't
not
the
off
fucking
point.
West Hollywood. This is 30s
No, I
and
know. I'm
40s.
just
That's
saying.
like you
I'm
love it
saying
or
I
not.
agree with it.
Is the rebound period very short?
It's not even rebound period. It's more like set them up, knock them down. For
For the love of your life?
to Wes's point, though, this is taking place in the late 30s, early 40s. And, I think if you had a competent writer, someone that knew how to tell a good story, you could actually take this and make something enjoyable or entertaining about this, especially if you focus on the idea of identity and the fact that you're trying to hide who you, like you're a superhero trying to hide your civilian identity, but then you have another secret that you're hiding as well. And the struggle of
well, that's got layers, Josh.
yeah, I know.
Life
does.
Yeah.
And the thing is, when
I can identify to one of those things.
And Tim Sheridan's writing it. I can't tell you that this is like you said, it's a superhero book, is it? Because that's where he's missing out. He needs to get everybody involved. And like I said, treat it as a new character. You wouldn't just have a new character just come out of nowhere and just do, nothing. You have to tell. A lot of people don't even understand Alan Scott's Green Lantern power they because it's different. And you're not even dealing with that. You're
I don't.
2 issues in.
It's taught me nothing about that.
They did on the newspaper, the first page of the first issue with the newspaper.
Yes, yeah, that's it.
You know exactly what you need to know.
Yeah. And then even then, you got that play of like he didn't want to get involved in the JSA, has to be blackmailed in, and everything feels wrong. It feels off.
It's like they expect everybody that's buying Alan Scott Green Lantern to know all the stuff we're supposed to forget as we're reading it. You know, everything you know is new. Well, no. Assume that I don't know this character at all, and you're telling me a good story.
So how do you get new readers?
You're assuming that older readers are going to read it but they're the ones just turning off.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. You have
those people were reading X-Men years ago. All right. They don't care about Alan Scott being gay. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I have to say, this is one of those instances where I didn't think it was going to get worse from issue 1 to issue 2.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And it got so much worse. And so much worse in multiple levels. And, worst retcon, Nightcrawler, Alan Scott. I think to what Yul was saying earlier, Nightcrawler is the larger character. But at the end of the day, the only thing you're messing up is how he was born. Everything else after that can kind of stay the same unless they decide to go shit on that as well, which,
And I think with this Tim Sheridan deal, I think by the end they're not worried about a story. Obviously, they hired Tim Sheridan. So what it is that part where now 10 years from now I can yell about this book when we're on the show, because that's all it is. It's like a placeholder of a retcon. And that's it. You could have done this in a one shot. You could have just announced it and just went, because they already did. This doesn't do any sort of, evolving the character or making people aware of why the change could work, doesn't work, whatever. You don't, because it's just shoved. It's just the idea of we're going to shove it down your throat.
I feel like the Alan Scott retcon is worse because it's more nonsensical.
Yeah,
like
you have to force it.
Like the fucking Nightcrawler origin, for however convoluted it is, you can kind of, you're dealing with a shapeshifter, so fine. You can start mucking about with a lot of that, but this actually makes no logical sense in any way, shape, or form. And the characters don't act like human beings. So why should I take it seriously? Why should I not believe that it is utterly abysmal? I don't know. I can't think of a good reason.
No. Yeah. My whole thing of this is when you end up getting out of death metal, you end up opening up the timeline, and that's where they have to decide which versions of different characters, how they're going to mold it in. But people were remembering things. I think it would have been kind of a better story if it would have been Alan Scott, who all of a sudden with the timeline opening and these different versions of him, now he is conflicted. He doesn't understand, oh my God, what's going on, and maybe deal with that to try to see how he would go forward with it. And they just kind of just throw you back in time to show you, it always was that, which is going to turn people off right away. But you have to be clever with it. You can't just say, this guy made a lantern and handed it to him in Arkham Asylum during conversion therapy. It's like there's so much being thrown at you there that you can't even, set anything straight. And it's just not showing you why you should like this Alan Scott. It's just showing you what Tim Sheridan wants to, put on a page and then yell at people on Twitter and YouTube. He just wants to yell at people who aren't liking a shitty comic. It is so poorly written when it comes to plot, when it comes to character. It's awful.
So you like it?
I love it.
Okay.
Book of the week.
Good. The art's good, right?
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, the art's all right.
Rolling Dodge in chat says, where are the editors? And I think the editors are visually... they've got good sense for the most part in the DC comic books. Whoever's hiring the cover artists are doing a good job. The interior art's really good, but they're not really mucking around or meddling with the stories, it feels like. Or they're giving the stories for the writers to write.
Yeah, that's what I think this might be part of, just because Tim Sheridan, you get him on this, you can just tell him what to do or give him something and he'll try to finagle it, but he's not that good. So it ends up a mess.
I think I think the editors story wise are patting people on the back because, they're hearing, brave, beautiful, bold, blah
Yeah.
blah blah blah. Oh, this is fantastic. That's great. Keep it up. And there's not an actual story. There's not an actual character there. It's just shit. It's one big steaming pile of shit.
Well,
With
I think
a trainee saying,
well, I think there's also the issue of, at this point, I mean, they've hitched their wagon to these incompetent doofuses. Is there anyone else?
Have they though? I mean, it makes a lot of people have been making it sound like this might be Tim Sheridan's like.
I think it might be his main book done. Like
Yeah.
he might show up in some year annual type
they'll do a
deal,
Pride
Voices
thing or
Vision
something,
or Pride thing, and it'll be an Alan Scott story. He'll be hooked to that, but other than that, I don't think he'll be around after this. I think he's done.
Do we think that? Okay, I don't know.
I'm just
He hasn't been doing much
listening to
anyway,
conjecture.
and then all of a sudden he gets thrown on this, and I don't think that he'll have much more going from this. But I might be wrong.
My point was more along the line of, until they find the next incompetent douche
They'll find him.
to go through the same career progression of be a nobody that works in a fucking barista as a barista somewhere, then suddenly be writing Teen Titans, and then you succeed your career by being
He
fired.
was writing DC animated movies, or at least he was co-writing them.
He'll just do that.
Okay,
Just
so
really found him.
he's going the Christopher Cantwell approach. So he goes from television and he succeeds his career all the way to the unemployment line.
Wait, you skipped a step. They've got to cross to different publishers before they get to the
Oh yeah, I forgot that. They
Get on the
still have to
X-Men
do that.
first.
Yeah,
Oh, how dare you?
yeah. Fuck.
got
He's
Guys,
Steve
he's-
Fox.
You don't want Tim Sheridan writing Wolverine?
I've got Steve Fox, man.
I've got Steve Orlando and Steve Fox.
Steve Orlando. Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
we got the entire Pride Squad already.
How
over
dare
on
you? I've got
X-Men.
Charlie Jane Anders. Okay.
And
don't need
those special
Tim
guest star.
Sheridan over here.
Hey, she had like 12 issues of fucking comics.
Oh my
It's
god,
more than special guest.
it's so.
No, it's
It's
only
just
5 issues of Lethal Legion, and then an annual, right?
No,
she did
and
the storyline before they canceled that.
before
New
they
Mutants
canceled New
beforehand.
Mutants too.
So
She
you
did
know
Oh,
the
yeah.
mini
there.
series was what she was going to do on the
So
regular.
it's like
series.
10. So
Yeah, so she had like 6 issues on New Mutants, 5 issues on Lethal Legion, and then the
And the Marvel Voices.
the
don't
Marvel
forget. She
Voices.
probably did something
So
there.
there's fucking 12. That's
Yeah.
not a guest star anymore.
it was supposed
She's
to be a
no
big deal,
Torin Granda.
according to the interview I read. Speaking
Well, I
of
mean-
X-Men, that one's the one that seems to be getting the more publicity these days. I don't think it's because of the writing's not good, but I don't think it's as much because of the writing, but the visuals associated with X-Men Origin Blue, number one, are so much funnier. Like
Yeah.
with the Hut, Blue 62 thing that everyone's doing. And then
Love it.
Mystique just
Football
like
season.
down and crying and looking so pathetic. I think
Yeah,
the
they-
visuals have got people talking about that one more because they are funny.
Yeah, and also, so while you were gone, Alan Scott is a good-looking book. There's good art on DC Comics for the most part, even if you don't like the story that's going on or the writing. But at Marvel, a lot of times they don't even give a crap about who's doing the art, and it is funny looking. It's also not really good looking. It's comical, and I guess they maybe were like looking at that Joker book, where he had the clay baby or something like that. Yeah.
Never copy Matthew Rosenberg.
Well,
Never
honestly,
But baby,
Well, maybe
on-
not, but still,
well, honestly, it's just whatever Stuart Immonen clone they can find to shit out onto the X books this week.
You know
It
what
just
I'd like?
keeps getting worse and worse every time.
I'd like to see Mystique in the far, far future, like a storyline, and kind of like the Legion of Superhero, the Durlans, where people don't know what they really look like because they're shape changers all these years. They don't know what they originally look like. I'd like to see Mystique kind of like that. Like maybe that could be her final form, their
Or-
final form, because she's just, done so. I mean, maybe she is a dude or was a dude or whatever, and that'd be a nice little fu to everybody.
or we can do it like Perch and Joe did with their City of Bruce. And
Yeah.
do City of Mystique, since she just keeps having so many fucking children.
Sure,
Well,
sure.
that is now my question. If she can convert to a male and create little swimmers, can she then just do it within her body, impregnate herself, and like pop
she
out
be
clones of
asexual?
herself? Yeah. Bloop, 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 bloop.
But even more importantly, how did the clothes change? That's the question.
That's because she's always naked.
Oh, okay.
And that's actually like a skin dress.
Oh,
So
I see.
she's basically like Engeens, like prize
Ew.
woman.
That's a
Or
girl.
Buffalo Bill. Then no. I mean, yeah, she
I thought
could
that was Moira
theoretically
now.
she could theoretically like asexually reproduce.
Yeah.
Now, Eric O'Sullivan actually had a really reasonable alternative for this. Is that it actually still is Azazel's baby, and she was knocked up by him, and basically she, well, let's just say her, instead of little swimmers, she
passed it off.
shot over, she passed it into Destiny.
She's got an egg
Although
launcher.
Eric did
Yeah.
correct himself and say now that he's read the book 3 times, that's not what happens.
I know, but it would have at least made more reasonable sense.
I'll agree to be confused.
Well,
Got
I'm
the
pretty sure
sense part.
everyone else was too.
Guys, can I say I'm pretty stupid, right? I know I am stupid. I don't understand much about the world, but can I ask how do 2 women make a baby and
Yep.
then they both get to carry it? I just could not work that out. It went over my head.
Magic.
Well, it's a size Spurrier book. It's supposed to go over your head.
Oh, it's magic.
Oh no! Apparently, she had to. Mystique's looking pregnant was just her shape-shifting herself pregnant. She wasn't actually
okay.
pregnant.
I did
but
the
she
exact same
needed
thing
to
when my wife
look
was pregnant.
pregnant.
When you did
Yeah.
pictures, I was like, guess which one of us is 6
It
months?
was.
Sympathy
It's
belly.
like the sympathy belly thing
Yeah.
that they give
Yeah.
that they'll do for men in those weird birthing
I
classes.
didn't need the belly. I made it
didn't need it.
myself.
He was putting it on himself.
Yep. Yeah. Mystique shoved it on. Mystique wore the sympathy belly from the birthing classes for the 9 months to hide the fact that she wasn't the
She
one that
could
was
shape
actually
change.
pregnant. Everything here is fucking stupid. So
Although
There are
I'll
good
say this.
retcons out there. Why can't we get the Captain America Winter Soldier retcon that actually adds to the mythos and expands on a character and allows you to bring him back and be a viable threat to Captain America that gives him a choice. This used to be my best friend kind of thing and ups the stakes and all that. Like retcons can be good. But it's been a while since we had a good one.
when they're done by competent people,
Maybe.
This is
that's
the
kind of-
Cy Spurrier book that I'm more willing to buy that came out this week.
Yeah, it made more sense
Yeah.
than Flash.
There you go. So
I mean-
Flash, that's
good looking book. Well, I
Look.
don't really love Diodato that much, but it's good looking.
Cy Spurrier has a. So this one was Cy Spurrier. I didn't. Okay. Cy Spurrier has been screwing up Nightcrawler. He's basically, I guess, Nightcrawler is his new, go-to character instead of Legion, because that's who it was for the last 10 years. Whenever he would be in the X office, because he's already fucked up. I don't consider anything that Cy Spurrier has done with Nightcrawler to be canon, mostly because at no point does a Catholic decide that he's going to, because he's a mutant, start his own fucking version of the church.
the Church of Krakoa.
Yeah.
That thing was supposed to
When
be.
he came up with his own fucking religion.
That was supposed to be what was happening. I dipped out of that one once we got in. Was it Legion of X? That was bad. Way of X was good.
Yeah.
And then
But he
Legion of X was
started
awful.
the I'm going to make my own religion in Way of X.
Yeah.
So
I know.
nothing Cy Spurrier does.
It sucks being a Nightcrawler fan. When your favorite character gets handed off to somebody like that, it's like being a Joker fan, and then you realizing Matt Rosenberg's going to write every fucking standalone Joker story for 2 years. You're like, God.
Yep. Let's correct that. It's bad being a comic fan right now. Just
It is, Josh. It is.
There's some decent stuff out there.
Comic fan.
There is,
Not a
but
whole lot.
it's overwhelmingly
It's hard to
shit
find.
compared to good.
Yeah.
That
It's not a
Matthew
good
Rosenberg Joker series nearly killed Jim, right, Jim?
Yeah, that one was rough. That was rough. I'd rather have, Nightcrawler this way than shit baby Joker nonsense. Like
So you thought that
we
X-Men
still
Blue
got-
Origin was more competent than Clayface, like Clay Joker baby?
Clay
Butt
Joker shit baby. Yeah, I think it was.
Well, both of them involved a butt baby, so
Yeah, that's true.
No way.
It's true. And I like Yule said that Flash book. It gives me a headache. That book.
I feel
Definitely
so bad
makes
for that
you-
series.
Yeah.
Wish Jeremy Adams would come back.
Remember when
Yep.
it was fun? Yeah.
It wasn't that long ago.
Not really.
But someone was like, we gotta get Cy back. We need to keep putting out Sandman stuff, and he won't do it if we don't give him Flash or something.
Yeah. We want him to do Hellblazer again, so let's have him do Flash and run that into the ground.
That was actually decent. Decent.
Yep.
but-
That's the deal
That was
you
a-
make with Jeff Lemire, not Cy Spurrier.
true.
Like, you're lucky we give you a paycheck, sir. Like, Jeff
can't-
Lemire, you go, you got to do this Joker Batman book, and we'll let you do whatever other weird, obscure thing that you wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you don't do that with Cy Spurrier. He
You don't have to.
I can think of exactly 0 comics he has ever sold on his name. 0.
0. Well, I mean, his mom, I heard, buys comics.
That is true.
Okay,
Not his comics.
maybe-
But...
she doesn't even buy his comics. Yeah.
No, she just buys others. She goes right to Grant Morrison to get the original deal.
Duh.
Well, no, she
Yeah.
just goes to Warren Ellis. I mean, at least that's.
Oh, you hate it.
You,
Well, I guess
can
the
I ask?
big question, Jim, is between the Alan Scott thing, the Mystique art, and then you got the John Kent story, backup story in action. Well, John Kent almost takes the cake, doesn't he? Even though he had these bat retcons,
It is crazy.
it's
Again,
like them two in a bathtub sexing each other for 3 pages.
Yeah. which I mean, was that a comic book story? That's the problem. A lot of these things, when you go into it, you don't understand where the angle is of trying to, I don't get it. I was reading that, and I liked Philip Kennedy Johnson a lot, but when his story was a little down this week because they're cutting it off at the knees, and then you get that at the end, I'm like, this is bad. Like, maybe they're trying to make it so shitty that people will really love Jason Aaron when he jumps on with this Bizarro story, but I don't know. It was really odd.
It's time to lower the bar, boys.
Yeah.
Get Dan
I thought
Parent
that
on the
was-
line.
I thought that was a
Make it
Pride
decent
special,
debut.
Wes. When I saw the the panels from it, I was like, okay, it must be one of those like Pride specials. But like, no, that was in Action Comics. I couldn't believe it.
At least they finally found something for Marguerite Sauvage to illustrate that it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because that's the gayest artwork I've ever seen, Josh.
It was very gay.
It looks like shoujo manga. That's what it should just be. It didn't really look like a comic.
It was better than a Power Girl.
I did read that storyline. Are we going to be talking about that, or should I wait?
You can do it right now. We're going to go to the events here in a minute.
I read the entire action book, and that last storyline was like, or that last story, just it wasn't a story, is what it was.
No.
Like I read the whole
wasn't.
thing. Like at first, I was like, "What the," and I'm like, "I'm not going to be reading this." And then they were like, they did that embrace at the end, and I was like, have I ever seen a hetero embrace like that wasn't a porno comic?
It was a penthouse.
I don't think I ever have. I've never seen a
Yeah.
Spider-Man where that's happening, or anything.
No,
And
no way.
But it's not a story. It's
That's the
just
problem. It isn't a
words
story,
that
yeah.
go to. This is a day in the life story, and it's
Yeah.
you have only 5 or 7 pages to make me care about this character, and this was their decision. And there you go. I mean, I guess I do. I care not to like it.
It kind of overshadowed all the big events. That was, I guess, the problem because it was supposed to be a big week with Beast World and Gang War. But we'll get to those here in a minute. Let's hear from the peoples. Shockingly, they have things they want to say. Caleb says the Nightcrawler thing is stupid. It proves the X office is filled with perverted freaks. Azazel is the father. That's it. That's right. We need fucking Maury. Is it Maury Povich?
Yep.
Azazel,
You are the
you are
father.
not the father.
Now
Dancing
that
around.
Rec Rap will be the host of that show.
That'd be great.
Red crab.
Now that's a good use for Rec Rap. He could be the Maury Povich doing the
That'd be awesome.
oh, I love it.
Mystique comes out giving both fingers to the crowd. They're all yelling, yeah.
Yeah.
Then
Catch
when
me
it's not,
outside.
she's dancing, doing the dance.
Destiny's yelling, "Cash me outside."
Destiny
Exactly.
yells that, runs into
Let's
the
make her even
hallway
younger
crying.
also while we're at it. You know?
Azazel just bamfed out
Nightcrawler's
of there.
face within the little picture-in-picture. Who's the father of young baby Nightcrawler? Even though he's
Right.
30 years old now,
Yeah.
still figuring this shit out.
Mystiques, they're like, we're here for the third time. She comes out giving the fingers. It's always that.
Oh man, that would be good stuff. He also says, since when did the X-Men become an allegory for coming out of the closet? What happened to the downtrodden heroes based on xenophobia and isolation?
1984. That's when. Just to let you know.
X-Men
That's
are a
fancy.
great allegory for anybody that feels like an
Yeah.
outsider.
Yeah.
The problem is you have the allegory and it's written as a story first, and then the allegory is something that adds, context or subtext to it. It's not the main part of it. It actually is an entertaining story that has layers, and that's what they miss out on now.
I actually know the exact time.
Oh.
It was when Grant was on New X-Men,
New X-Men.
and Chris Claremont was doing God Loves Man Kills 2 in continuity, and brought that whole thing and made it an in continuity story. And now we were forever left with nothing but people doing takeoffs of that forever. Sorry.
I disagree. I think it was when Louise Simonson was writing New Mutants. I'm dead serious. It was just coded back then a little
Yeah.
bit more.
Also, if we're gonna go, like, when was the first time someone said, being a mutant is like being? When did Grant write his X-Men run?
2001 through
Okay.
like 2005.
Because I feel like even he picked that up from like Ian McKellen. Because when they first filmed that first X-Men movie, Ian McKellen was very vocal in his interviews, talking about, as a gay man, I relate to these characters, and
Oh yeah.
except he had kind of what Jim was saying. It was an allegory that fit into the story as opposed to it being the story.
Well,
Well,
what
if
I'm thinking is, like, think about Grant Morrison writing it in 2000, and when was he influenced by this, this concept?
A
Maybe
year
he always
earlier.
thought it. But, we know he reads old comic books, so there was probably a time when it happened. It just kind of... I don't think it was during the Scott Lobel years, though.
No, but
No.
but Wes is right,
Nobody's
though. I mean,
influenced by
they've always kind of been like an allegory for anyone that's an outsider. So
Yeah, and everyone's
Or
felt like an outsider.
persecuted.
That's why they were perfect.
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And then, we aren't on the nose enough. We need to let people know exactly what we're saying here. MH Comics Invictus says Mystique can single-handedly populate an entire planet. You know what I mean? Wink, wink.
Say
Planet
no
of
more.
Mystique.
Everybody be
No,
vamping all over the place.
She takes over Limbo with her uterus.
Could happen. That's a storyline.
She can
Lady.
feed Galactus forever. Think about
I
it.
know.
So are we on the road for Alan Scott only having his children and marrying the two women he did as a shield to hide that he was gay by the end of the series?
They're all beards.
No, conversion therapy only works for a certain amount of time. That's what it means.
Well, he didn't do the conversion therapy. He
Oh,
saw what
I'm
happened
sorry.
to Billy in lobotomy.
It'll just
And he
be him, and
sprung
even has
everybody.
it in this. He's just going to decide that, well, people want me to be this. I'll try it out, and it
Are
just
you
won't be
kidding
him.
me?
I
Who would
mean,
ever do that?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, the weird play
people
about
do
it is, again, like when you have these comics, instead of giving the idea as you're writing it, okay, Alan Scott's gay, let's write the comic, with that in mind, but not the thing. It's like everything is about just that, and that's not how things work in real life. Like, I'm hetero. I'm not going downstairs right now. I'm going to go eat my hetero breakfast, and then I'm going to go to my hetero job. Like, that's not how it is.
but everything is hetero in normal society or everyday society for the majority of the planet, right?
Actually, I do eat a hetero breakfast. I just want to point that out.
Well, it's not Chinese food in China, right?
Yes.
It's just
Jim's eating eggs and sausage every morning.
What's a gay breakfast?
Yeah.
Hey, John.
Is it just brunch?
Avocado toast.
Is it
We
brunch?
get up real late.
Well, it depends on what kind of gay you are. So
Let's say clubbing gay. I want to know what the breakfast.
Oh no,
is.
that's not where I was going. But okay.
Oh, okay.
If you're clubbing gay, then it's just cocaine.
Yeah, ecstasy and.
Galb says the people defending the R word Mystique thing clearly don't read comics and are anti-biology. She can appear, but she can't grow male parts. Is that definitive?
Well,
R word. I'm sorry. I'm stupid here. Is it that bad that we're saying that?
What's the
no?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
I
okay. Wait.
I say it all the time.
I get it. I'm reading it better now.
Well, I don't know if it's ever really been clarified. I know she can't alter her DNA, but can she alter RNA? Can she create, convert fucking
Dude, I only got
into
a C in biology.
I know, but can she convert, eggs into little swimmers? I have no fucking clue.
I don't think eggs and little swimmers are even remotely the same thing. They're created by different organs.
I understand that, but can she then, turn her organs into?
Can she turn them on? Because everyone has them.
Yeah, like can
depending on your chromosomes.
But can she turn organs into other organs? I don't know. I mean, we know that they can do external changes. We know she can do some degree of internal changes. It's what allows her to heal quickly by just shape shifting and basically healing the wound. But I don't know whether she can essentially change herself on a biological level.
Maybe
and I don't think that's ever
hermaphrodite.
been. Yeah, I don't think that that's ever really been addressed, because it gets into that suspension of disbelief with superhero comics. Where
when
once
you have conversations like this, and it takes the fun out of comic books.
This is it.
You go into Creighton was alive.
You get into the same thing about like how Magneto fucking flies when his power is magnetism, and
he's pushing himself off the ground, right?
Yes, but how is he doing that?
The Earth is magnetized, right?
Yes, but my point is, once you start digging too deep into it,
by the way,
once you start digging way too deep into it, you start realizing that you can't. If you do it, you either entirely undermine the concept of the superhero, or you make somebody so wildly overpowered that they are basically a fucking god. So you have to stop at some point, and that's where I think they're going too far in.
Gallup says Tim Sheridan is better off writing gay pornos with Joe Glass. It seems that's all DC is doing now.
What? Pretty much.
Are you crazy? There's no pornography in DC.
I mean, you're getting as close to it as possible without actually going.
Pretty close.
I've seen a lot more. Look, DC, when I was growing up, there was a whole lot more skin showing. That's all I'm going to say.
It's not even about the skin.
I know, but you can't have a porno without some skin, is what I'm saying.
Man, I bet you there's one out there.
Oh my God, the chestless John Kent or whatever, or a chestless. Yeah, he's chestless too.
Chestless. No,
shirtless.
Chaseless.
Chaseless.
I'll kind of reference. No, I'll reference this John Kent backup. Like anyone that thinks that Jay Nakamura is just sitting there taking face selfies and sending them is
taking.
How dare you? Are you saying that there's a hand off panel doing something I can't see? Is that what you're
must
saying?
Be. They were on the phone for fucking 12 hours.
Yeah.
Well,
so
they were
4 in the morning or whatever.
God, how boring must that conversation have been?
Well, how boring was the comic book? Times it by 50. That's why we have boring the conversation was.
Speaking of Joe Glass, if you have group chats or group texts with friends and you want to troll them, just go send Joe Glass TikToks. You can thank me later.
There you go. Goblin Sense West, you asked why Sheridan is writing Alan Scott. You should ask Jeremy Adams, since he said he and Sheridan are friends and prefer Scott Bryan Wilson over Ted. Yeah, I know that they're friends. But, Jeremy Adams didn't hire Tim Sheridan to write anything. He's not an editor. He's not a group editor. He's nothing. He's just another writer. I imagine Jeremy Adams is why he was writing or co-writing the Flashpoint Beyond, but I don't think he had anything to do with him getting on Alan Scott Green Lantern. I imagine. Maybe he suggested it, but he didn't hire him. But I do know that they're friends. That's certainly well documented. He also says, shame that Jeff Johns created interesting story of Crimson Lantern 2 be ruined and wasted by Tim Sheridan. New 52 Alan Scott has better compared to Tim Sheridan. They made the Crimson Lantern seem like it's going to be a big deal, Jim. He's not a big deal. He didn't even was not even in there in the second issue to the last page just to say
I guess at points they have to be like, well, we're going to have some comic book things you tied into the, Soviets a bit, and then just don't deal with it, because they didn't deal with it. This issue, I actually was like, okay, like Josh said, maybe that first issue, okay, you get your feet in there, he's going to give you that big deal, and then let's get to the comic booky story, and let's get to the other things, and it reverted. It went backwards in that, and then at the end again, it's like, hey, everybody, Crimson Lantern. And you're like, no, I think I'm done. I think most people will be done.
He's going to need 3 straight issues of like action.
No, 3 gay issues.
Three straight issues of gay superhero action. Okay. For this to be actually a superhero comic.
Yep.
Book,
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to have some in number 3, and then all of it in 3, 4, 4,
and
5,
then
and 6.
in a comic book that you're trying to show comic book readers why this retcon should be done, and you're not doing it right. You're doing.
I have no faith there will be 3 straight issues of gay superhero action.
How many heroic scenes have been in there? I read issue 1. Well, I got halfway through issue 1. Anything happened? Any heroics? No.
Well, no. He saves the boat, but he's not Green Lantern.
Okay.
They're trying to acquire the Crimson Lantern. He has to like cut it loose or something. Okay. Something like that, right?
Yeah, but that's also like, I know Yoel had mentioned that the art's good. I would say the aesthetic of the look of the characters is good, but the storytelling of the art is terrible. Because that scene in particular, I didn't know what the hell was going on.
Yeah, you can barely tell what's happening. I actually had like 5 theories of what was actually happening, and none of them were right. Yeah. And I'm a dummy, but still, you got to make it clear.
Caleb says Lightyear did something similar in that movie. I imagine he's talking about the Mystique Destiny Nightcrawler thing. Josh, did that happen in that movie?
I didn't see Lightyear. Sorry.
How can you be the pop culture aficionado? You didn't watch Lightyear.
Because I heard how shitty it was. Look, I'm having to take a breather from shitty things because I spent.
It's your job to watch shitty stuff now.
No, I know. I'm trying to split that a little bit. Look, I've been like the main MCU guy. All right, I've got plenty of shit that I'm watching.
It's still Marvel.
I already feel
Disney.
sorry for you.
Yeah. Scrolls can change the biology, but it's ritual they go through, which is supposed to be extremely painful, and I think it's permanent.
I mean, I'll accept that. Yeah, but I accept that story-wise because then you there's a point to it. Like if it's for survival, then sure.
As long as they go through pain, then I'm okay with it.
Yeah, it better hurt.
He also says, I love Ivan Reis's art, but it's Tom Taylor. You know what that means, so not holding my breath. So I just did my Patreon exclusive review. That'll be up here today. Obviously, he's talking about Beast World there, but the art by Ivan Reis is spectacular, especially the facial expressions, Yul. When bad stuff is happening, it looks like the people are freaking out. It's really, really good.
I'm all for Ivan Reis, but how long is Beast War supposed to run for?
It's like 6 issues.
So he's going to do 2, and then someone else is going to do 3 and 4, and then he'll do...
Probably.
It's not Marvel, it's DC. They don't do that.
But Ivan Reis has a bad habit of coming in, doing like 1 to 2 issues, not doing 2 issues, then doing like an issue and a half.
Hopefully he's already got them all done. They're in the can.
I'm looking
they had that big break for Night Terrors, right? Should be able to get 2 months ahead of schedule. But hopefully he's there for the whole thing because it looks awesome. It was really good. Miss Maria, who do you want to win in a boxing match? Elon Musk or Bob Iger? Elon Musk would destroy him. He's jacked right now, isn't he? He's still somewhat young. Bob Iger's in like his 70s. Elon Musk, I think, is in his 50s. He should beat the shit out of him. And isn't he training to beat up Mark Zuckerberg? Isn't that what happening?
Just breathe on him, surely. That's enough.
I saw Zuck was all jacked up too, training MMA. But who do you want to win, Josh? You're the pop culture guy.
I want to see Musk win. Look, Musk is Elon's so based, especially with this whole like "go fuck yourself" comments, talking about advertisers pulling out, like, and then home.
Do you think Amber Heard did that to him?
There is no telling what Amber Heard did to him.
Yeah.
There's no telling what he did back to her. But yeah.
HH is the guy from Sigma Comics. Shout out to the Thinking Critical team from Columbus, Ohio, GalaxyCon. Thanks to all those who backed Unholy Nightmare, and please support or keep the support coming. Here Comes Calico number 8 hits Kickstarter on Tuesday. Indies are the future. Absolutely, this is a big issue. I think it's double size. Going to be up on Kickstarter. I'm going to have HH on the channels within the next week to talk about this stuff. Congratulations, guys. Making it to 8 issues is no joke. You've been out pounding the pavement for 2 years straight, getting the word out, selling your comic books one at a time, and there aren't enough people out there with that kind of dedication to the grind. You know what I'm saying, Yule? Sometimes you got to go out there and make your own fucking luck.
That's the reason why I got out of wanting to make comic books. I just didn't want to do what HH is doing.
A lot of work.
But well, of course, there wasn't YouTube and stuff like that at the time, also. But you know, social media is different. But even still, I think probably back in the day, HH would have been doing it this way also, and it's awesome. I mean, that's when I'm really sick of looking at my favorite old ass comic books. There's something that I'd forgot was around back in the day, and a lot of it was black and white, and that's another reason why I'm really into that kind of stuff. And Calico is similar to that. You know, here comes Calico, and we get it in the store.
That's very nice, very nice. Am I breaking up? It looks like my internet went out.
No, you're good.
Very good.
All right. It could happen any moment now.
Just believe it.
Carrie, Nerdy Girl Creates. Hello. I just want comics to stop writing LGBTQ
Instagram?
characters. I thought Instagram as well, but I thought it would have said Insta. I think LGBTQ characters and stereotypes and one-dimensional. Please don't fit into one cookie-cutter mold. That's the big problem, Josh. They're all the fucking same character. There's like no differentiation between the words that they use, like who they are, like as a core character and stuff like that.
Well, you know, if you're gonna be gay, then it's a requirement that you watch RuPaul's Drag Race, and you have to act like every single one of those drag queens. That's the only way to be gay. So,
I'm in.
Sorry. Yeah.
Jim has been in for the cause.
Jim.
Or out.
Callan says Iger, I think he has early signs of dementia. Everything he repeats like a parrot. And I've also heard, hopefully She-Hulk 2 won't happen. I haven't seen anything from Iger that makes me think he has dementia.
He's running a company, right?
Yeah,
that's what he's doing.
He's just doing the PR, talk to the publicity, or talk to the media, get the word out, and all that kind of stuff. And he's trying to put out like 18 different fires at one time, which I imagine is very stressful.
Yeah, man. Branding's all about keeping on message, right? You know,
and when you've got Star Wars not doing well, MCU not doing well, Pixar not doing well, Disney not doing well. Sounds like the hotels aren't doing well. Maybe the parks aren't doing as well. ESPN's certainly not doing well anymore. Television's kind of falling apart.
Radio's kind of falling apart.
That man probably has more stress
Life
than you and I could
sucks.
possibly imagine, but
YouTube
on
rocks.
himself.
Yeah.
YouTube
Thinking
is stressful,
critical.
man.
YouTube
Like,
can't be. Oh my God.
Nobody
What?
liked my video, and I put so much effort into it.
Wait, which video was that?
It happens every week.
Come
Oh,
on,
well.
Wes.
Somebody
Oh,
called
my
you
God.
Mr.
Only
Giggles.
3,000 people watched my video.
When was the last time you got 40 views, Wes? Come on.
Well, I mean, 40 views it's been a long time, but
Look at you.
Yeah, even I'm not that
Well,
bad
yeah.
anymore.
At least
Yeah,
you don't
I
get
mean-
called Mr. Giggles.
well,
That's the
you
worst.
deserve that because you were giggling the whole time. You're like fucking
you were making
Quagmire
me
for 2
laugh.
hours.
was your fault.
You mean like that movie? Oh, that's Dr. Giggles.
Dr.
Right?
Giggles? I'm
Oh God, yeah, I'm thinking about that. Guys, about
Jim?
Disney, do you think with Disney, have they really lost their golden touch? Because it seems like if you keep shitting on the customers, you're gonna eventually lose. Could it happen to them? Are they too big to fail?
Well, they own.
Well, they're too big to fail immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't forget, before Michael Eisner, Disney was in the dumps back in the day.
Yeah, before
And they
Beauty and the
had
Beast.
really. Yeah,
That's what I heard.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can look at it as like it's.
But they are stretched
it's
thin now. I
cyclical.
mean, they're in television. They got news channels. They've got these enormous franchises. They've invested like $4 billion into Star Wars. They are
might lose
leveraged.
companies.
Yes, or they might have to start selling stuff off at this point because they're so big. So they are a different company than they were like in the late 80s.
Save our money for Spidey.
But I mean they're
Sony.
certainly too big to fail right now, and they have so many IPs and they have a track record of success with the last 35 years or whatever, where they're going to have access to money and stuff like that. But eventually, everybody loses, right? You can't last forever. And I imagine they get sold off sooner than later. I think the Apple thing is absolutely real. LK says tonight at 8 Eastern at I Love Comics Saturday auction, we have a Spec Spidey #1 autographed by Neil Adams, Marv Wolfman, and Walt Simonson, amongst other great books and great conversations.
All right.
That is awesome.
Yeah, good auction.
Spectacular Spider-Man #1.
Oh,
If you
awesome.
can't get into your comic store and they don't have good back issues, then this is a good way to buy some cheaper comics.
Oh yeah, if you're looking for some cool older comic books and you're like, man, eBay blows, go check out I Love Comics on Saturday nights. They do these like 5-hour auctions, and of course you get Eric Breen there most of the time.
That's what I'm really there
And,
for. I got all those comics.
And Eglintine's a good dude. I've had on the channel a couple times, and they just talk about all this fun stuff. But you can get books at a really, really good price. Like those guys don't bend you over, and they have a lot of fun with it. So if you're into auctions and stuff, they don't. Not everything's on Whatnot. There's even still some stuff on YouTube now. Those guys do a really good job. And obviously Eric Breen. Who doesn't like Eric Breen? He's like a fucking national treasure.
Breen.
Nobody
He's
wants
awesome.
to speak up?
Well,
I
I,
agree.
I mean, if
Doc,
I
you're the big
spoke up,
asshole in
would
the
I
group.
be-
Say you don't like Eric.
I love Eric.
See, not even
like
Doc can
Eric.
say bad
I
word
heard
about
he uses
Eric.
tarot
I mean, for
cards,
a
though.
Reds fan.
Yeah, I heard you use tarot cards.
I was gonna say, speaking of Eric's, the other Eric O'Sullivan, is in the chat being negative. What's going on? What's happening? What is
What's
this?
he saying negative on?
No.
No,
I can't believe
he's
it.
just
The gang
spitting
war.
facts.
Look
He's
at
just
that.
talking. He's
Well,
never
we'll get to
negative.
Gang War here real quick. We
I
got
love
one
you, Eric.
more
Just give me more
thing,
time.
and then we'll see what he's talking about. Callum says, and Feige must be desperate to rehire that clown Waldron of all people. Olsen admitted she hated what he did to her character in scripts. Talking
Yeah,
about the Doctor Strange writer coming back for Kang Dynasty.
Yeah, wait. Loki season 1 writer and Doctor
Yes.
Strange Multiverse of Madness writer. Like,
I was told Loki
piles of
season
shit.
1 was amazing. I was like, I just did not see that
No.
show. Like,
There
that.
was moments of it that were okay
Cool.
and kind of cool, like the actual like comic Loki in the final episode. I think it was that was
Richard E.
fucking
Grant
cool.
Doc playing him. Yeah, that was awesome. That was the best part of it.
Yes.
Oh, agreed.
And like you could see actual like Loki's real like comic level powers. And it was fucking dope. But everything else, that show was so middling. Plus the fact that, fuck Owen Wilson. Seriously. Fuck Owen Wilson.
I didn't mind him. I thought he was,
I don't like Owen Wilson in anything.
I did. Him and Ben Stiller, a locked room and a baseball bat, would make me fucking happy.
Jesus, man.
There's only so many times you can see Loki get kicked in the balls. It's like, oh, come on.
Yeah, that's the. They brought in a different head writer for season 2, and actually he came on towards the end of season 1, and they just kind of announced that he was responsible for the good stuff at the end of season 1, and season 2 was actually, in my opinion, season 2 was actually pretty damn good. but that guy is not involved with these projects. They're bringing Michael Waldron back. If you're frustrated with Michael Waldron just on watching the movies, go watch his commentaries. It's gonna piss you off even more. Like, the guy's a fucking moron.
Man, well
hold
said. And that will get us into the big events we had: Beast World for DC Comics and Gang War from Marvel Comics. Do we want to start out with the good thing or the bad thing first? You want to be positive or negative? It's up to you, Yule. Oh no,
You're muted. Yeah.
Let's go positive because we can get through that faster. Callum's not going to super chat for good things, okay?
It's fine. The Ivan Reis art in Titans Beast World #1 is really, really good, but the story is so much fun as well. There are a couple things I take great exception to, but there's so much good in it. It was like so much fun seeing like an enormous, even more villainous Starro kind of thing fighting Beast Boy as Starro, and the fucking spores are
Garo
fighting
is
each
what
other.
he called himself, right?
It was so good.
Yeah.
I just did my review. It'll be up on the Patreon here today. Like, I just had a lot of fun with the comic book. I walked away. I was smiling. Jim and I were talking about it. There are some things that I really don't like, but there's so much I liked. It was so much more than that stuff.
The negative is probably what Josh was talking about. I was looking it up, and it looks like 3 and 4 will be drawn by somebody else, but then he's back in number 5 and probably 6.
Oh, no.
But then I saw something in chat that was even worse. It sounds like he signed a Ghost Machine.
Yeah, he did sign with them.
Which means no more good stuff from him at DC or Marvel or wherever.
The thing, I saw some people talking in
Way
the
to make
chat.
it negative, Yule.
Yeah,
Sorry.
about Beast World.
Whoever was in chat said that. It's not my fault.
Yeah, for some people, though, a lot of people haven't been reading, Nightwing or Titans. You don't really have to. You can jump into this.
No.
And if most people talk about Tom Taylor, they say they don't like his in continuity stuff. They like his Elseworld stuff. And this feels like he's going with the vibe of the Elseworld stuff. That's why I think it's as good as it is. And I've been a bit of a, negative jerk about all of Tom Taylor's books recently, and this actually was a surprise. I was pretty impressed by it.
All right.
Feels much more like Deceased than it does fucking Nightwing.
It even has a Deceased-like narrative, and it's big, and it feels like, and in fact, the big, play, the thing that Tom Taylor gets wrong a lot recently is his progressions and his plot. And this almost feels like too much happens in the first issue, but that actually is such a, a pleasant surprise based on his other things. So, I was really impressed by it.
Yeah.
And I'm missing.
There was a beginning, middle, and end. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
They settled something in one book.
Wow.
You didn't check it out yet,
Josh? It's a big
Josh?
brain.
Well, look, I've checked out pretty much anything Tom Taylor's writing.
Yeah. And that's the
You should
problem.
check in on this one, man. At least the first issue was fun.
I'll pick it up. Like, I was surprised to hear. I know that if you're gonna say a Tom Taylor book is good, it's gonna be a solid read. So I will check it out.
Holy cow! That's like 2 weeks in a row. He said Jason Aaron good, and now he said Tom Taylor good.
What's going on?
I didn't say Jason Aaron was good. I said Offworld was a good start, and I enjoyed the book. It was fun.
Are you turning
better?
Shield? Is this a Shield channel now? Thinking Critical Shield for.
Thinking
DC and
short.
Marvel
Well, I mean, Comics Explained retired. I'm gonna.
Wait. So it's just now going to be like comic book read along.
Maybe
that's right.
Read along with Wes.
There's a void for it now, Wes. Fill that void. I would
exactly.
I would listen to your sultry voice reading some comics.
Oh, good. We need Dawka's thing.
Yeah, imagine read along with Dark. How many blank outs you have to do.
Well, it already sounds like a
beep.
Chewing rocks.
DC's having their first real Titans event ever. As long as you don't count X-Men versus Titans. Yeah. And only 2 of us read the damn thing. We're excited for it.
I actually, it is telling, too, because of Nightwing being this, almost like they say it's one of their bigger books. And, oh, my God, it's winning Eisners. But when you get in this event, you really have, like, a jumping on point for everybody, as if, they realize nobody's really reading those books. So it is a cool entry point.
Okay, so here's my question though, because I would venture to say Nightwing is getting a lot of the recognition it's getting because of how good Bruno Redondo is.
Yeah. Yep.
I agree.
And how much of Beast World is getting, or Beast World's getting its recognition. How much, even Nicholas Scott on Titans, like, he's got good artists, and I think they're doing all the heavy
Nicholas
lifting.
Scott looks awful on Titans, though. It does
Really?
not look good right now. No,
Yeah,
not
kind of like it's quality effort, but it just doesn't seem to work with the
There's
characters
nothing there.
for
It's
me.
just, yeah.
With
Like
what?
she draws a
Oh.
picture, but it's all about their
Everybody
hair
has
blowing,
dead
you know?
eyes.
It's because they talk too
Oh,
much.
Yeah, everybody
Probably.
looks like they're like not real. They're like real dolls, you know. Sexy.
Yeah,
I'd
and
liked
then,
her
like
more
the
in
big
the past.
adventures are like planting trees for Arbor Day and shit like that. Like you would get in a fucking Wheaties
Yeah, and just
cereal
think of
in
that.
the
Yeah,
80s or something.
yeah, Beast Boy planting trees in the and really keep going back to it. You get to like the next issue. Oh,
happens
he's
3
planting
issues,
trees.
yeah.
Then you get in the Beast World and he turns himself into a damn starro. It's like, yep, this is a bit different. Like,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah,
pretty
it's
cool. Like that's what you get. And planting trees.
You got any more words
planting
on Beast World?
tentacles.
Are you expecting anything after issue number 1? Because we do get a huge reveal, and all the fun stuff that made issue 1 fun essentially is over, Jim, and something else was revealed by the end. Dr. Hate, it's not like they were
Dr.
keeping
Hate,
that
yeah.
one a big secret. So
That
I
was
am
upsetting.
cautiously optimistic moving
Yeah.
forward with Beast World.
I am too. Now, the tie-in books of these, like, Beast World Tour things, and I think that that is a really bad
Buyer
kind of
beware.
name for it. Yeah, so I think that the main book, I think, will probably keep that same vibe. I worry about I saw some of the writers on these tie-ins. They're anthology tie-ins, so you got a lot of writers, and DC doesn't have a lot of quality writers, so I'm going to worry about
Anthology
those.
tie-ins always suck.
Yeah, and they suck. So, when
Terribly.
you get this, but I think that, like I said, I think that Tom Taylor is using that kind of vibe of his, realizing probably because those are the things that he continuously gets praised for, Deceased and things like that. So I think he's going to have that tone, and that is a cool tone for an event. I'm worried because of the Dr. Hate stuff, and now we're going to get, oh my God, Robin's a cat. Like, I don't need that, but I hope that the overall story remains big like this, and still so much more enjoyable than that bullshit gang war. I mean, seriously.
Are you excited for Bunny Harley Quinn?
Oh yeah, I can't wait. Yeah, like
We've
that
already
stuff.
kind of
Like
got
really,
the bunny within Batman and Robin, though, right?
yeah.
Josh, here's the question, though. Are you excited for Nightwing as a fox?
I mean,
foxy?
Dick Grayson's pretty foxy.
He
so
is.
sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Makes sense, I guess. That's the big thing going on there. So as impressed as I was with Beast World, and I was not expecting that because I'm not a Tom Taylor fan. The stuff he's been doing at DC for a long time has not been very good, especially anything in continuity. So that one was not expected whatsoever. I didn't know what to expect out of Gang War, Yule. I know you're the big Spider-Man fan. We got ASM,
Not enough to
Gang
order
War,
it, obviously.
Gang War First Strike, Luke Cage First Strike, Spider-Woman #1, which is also Gang War, and I think you claim Miles Morales as Gang War, but I was told it wasn't.
Well, I put it on the cover,
It's like
Yeah,
it's
but-
Prelude 2 or something like that.
Sizer glass.
I only read First Strike and I read the Luke Cage book, and I just came away just completely unimpressed by all of it. I was like, especially the Miles Morales Peter Parker interaction was bad. And then there's like 2 or 3 twists at the end of this, like people that you were told were dead aren't dead, and other new
Right.
people are dead. And I was just like, wah,
So
wah.
I spoiled myself for that, for the show because I didn't order. I'm getting it
You
next
forgot to
week,
order.
everybody. Yeah, stupid. That's the problem when there is so much to order. Sometimes I'm ordering
Oh, yeah.
variants instead of the
'Cause
main
last
cover.
week it was
and
Titans Beast World Evolution #1. You're like, oh, that's the kickoff of the event? No, it's not.
Nope.
I really
That's
kicked my ass
pre-material.
on that one. Yeah, I was very upset. But it was good stuff in it, so it's not that bad. But I can't be ordering that like a normal series.
Mm-mm.
So even still, my Gang War strike file was going to be probably on par to Spider-Man numbers, but then there's all the other stuff. I don't know. I kind of assumed those characters weren't going to really be dead, and that maybe be like, kind of coming back for this storyline. I've been okay with Gang War leading up to it, at least the few pages that have been involved with it. And JR Jr. is going to be back. He wasn't on this one though, right?
No.
No, it was Joey
Yeah.
Vasquez, I think.
Yeah, and I mean the alpha
Okay.
and omega issues of any storyline are hit or miss usually. So I'm not going to judge this series on the spin-offs and the strike file, but on the Zeb Wells main story, which I know a lot of you out there can't stand him anyway.
No.
So if this can't pull out, then I would say this is a good time to get out after that. If you're
Neither
still
can
hanging on
Mystique.
hope. Pardon me?
Neither can Mystique. She
Ah,
can't pull
damn
out
it,
either.
Doc! I swear to God, I was
Yep.
that close to saying it.
That's what Doc said.
Oh.
I saw somebody in chat talking about the Night Terrors having burnt them, but I don't think there was anybody before it came out, at least on this channel, that was looking forward to it. And
No.
again, it was something that I ordered accordingly, and I didn't like the fact that it was happening. But if you get into that, I mean, I never promoted that for people. If I did, it was like, hey, check out this artwork. Oh, this has a character you like. You
Good
might want to
covers,
check
yeah.
this out. But that's about it. And like, if you got into that reading it and you're like, I can't read Beast World as a result, this is not the same thing. Also, again, buyer beware on these things.
See, I like Joey Vasquez art.
So
I do.
There are a couple of
I-
pages on it that actually look really cool, but it was a little off. I think there might
Okay.
be two artists on it. To be completely
Probably.
honest, it got a little weird and wonky. In
And
the
it's
middle.
probably, I mean, without having looked at it, I'm assuming Zeb Wells and Saladin. Wait, is it? No,
No, it was Cody.
Ziegler were
Cody
involved
Ziegler.
Cody writing
because he does Miles Morales, so they
Yep.
could have their little repartee and make sure that everything's copacetic
both
with
laughing
the Spider-Man
with each other in
universe.
their room.
Exactly.
Slap them both. The whole play of this is it's setting up, and it's been set up poorly. And I'm with you. I actually like the couple pages that we were getting each month or each issue going towards it, and then we get to it, and it's really going heavy on the Fisk law. That is just kind of laughable anyway, because it's something from Devil's Reign 2 years ago. We never really saw it work out in the book because you can't let it work out in the book because you have to have your characters doing their thing. So all of a sudden in this, it's like, oh my God, it's the big thing. And then you even have, when Miles is talking, he's yelling about the stuff that Zeb Wells started Amazing Spider-Man with about, oh, you ghosted me for 6 months, everybody hates you, but we're all kind of moved past
We got
that.
past that.
Yeah, we're past that. And then if you even really think about it, like why we ended up finding out about why Peter goes, like at one point he was in the hospital. I mean, he was near death. So where was
I
Miles
know.
then? You know what I mean? Like you're like, you asshole, where were you? And we got past that. It resolved kind of poorly. So then it just kind of like, it's like digging a wound open again and pouring salt in it the way that it's presented. But that Fisk law deal, it's just nonsense. It's complete nonsense. It never was followed. And now, Randy's having problems. And they're trying to almost like, it's a weird play. To me, this event, sometimes events need to happen to finish or progress a story or tell something big. This just does feel right off the bat. It's just, we need an event. Let's figure out what we have and throw it out there.
Yeah, it feels like an event that could have happened had any of the things that are tying into it been popular, enjoyed, or met with positive critical response by the readership. But everything that is like the components of this whole thing were the things that they had to kind of abandon.
Yeah, they did.
They abandoned them before, and they just like let them, once they realized they were entirely underwhelming, they completely dropped them as plots. And now they're bringing them back up to justify this.
And it feels like we've moved past it, like we said. And the other thing, when people talk about Zeb Wells, and I know that Yule is a bigger fan of the run than a lot of people, but most people will agree that the stuff at the beginning with Tombstone was the best.
Yeah,
that was the best stuff. So when they're
when he was
stuff,
wailing on Spidey.
oh yeah. I mean, most
that
people
was
were
awesome.
still into it at that point. And like, okay, we have that mystery box thing, but this is really neat. And people keep going back to that. So I think that this shows that the, Spider-Man, they're worried about the book. They need to. So they're trying to get back to that kind of story here, but they don't realize the lay of the land and what has happened since, and that it doesn't really matter that much, and it feels off. But I think that's what they're doing. They're trying to get back to the stuff that most people agree Zeb Wells was best at, but then you throw in just nonsense things and Cody Ziegler. Now I'm afraid it's just going to be that dark web shit again. Next thing, we're going to have talking sandwiches and fucking mailboxes, and I'll lose my mind. No, we don't need that.
Fuck Cody Ziegler.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So
every single time that son of a bitch writes a book, I want to throw it in the. I want to do what I wanted to do with X-Men Red. I want to take every note. I want to take every copy. I want to take every proof. I want to take every email, put them all in a shuttle and shoot them into the fucking sun, and us all collectively agree it never happened.
Yeah,
I would like to see a Patreon exclusive for Thinking Critical where you guys say, what if there were good editors in a company and which writers do I not like could actually be helped out by that? I think Cody Ziegler would be one of those. Maybe a Zeb Wells would also. If things were a little bit tighter and more story driven. And
I think Wells
sensical.
Could. Yeah, I think Wells could. I don't think Cody Ziegler can.
No,
I think Cody's done a couple of books. People were liking his Miles in the beginning.
They were liking it. They were telling. I don't read or review it, and people were telling me, "Oh my God, you got it! It's really good." And then I read his bit of Miles in this issue of Gang War. I'm like, yeah, I don't think I need to read that. I'm assuming he was writing that part. But yeah, I think that's Zeb Wells, though. I mean, they have to sit there and kind of have an editor say, okay, what is the tone of this issue? Is it jokey or is it dark? Because you got to pick one or the other. You can't tell these stupid jokes in the middle of a tension building, dark kind of scene, and he does that and it ruins everything. It throws me out. The actual from issue to issue, arc to arc is all over the place, and maybe that could be helped by a strong editor that can just get him rein him in.
Well, I think look, Cody Ziegler's another one of those Rick and Morty writers. That's who he is. That's his entire personality, his entire sense of humor. I mean, maybe if we could, break his leg every single time he tried to write a joke, and it would teach him a lesson. Don't try to be funny because you're fucking not.
Yeah.
But I think he'd run out of bones for us to break.
Put him on like Gwenpool or something where nobody will notice.
No, because that's another book.
But then a Gwenpool's coming out. That's the problem.
Yeah, then there's a Gwenpool book being published.
No, those are the books I hate ordering more than anything.
You know what? He might have been okay. He might have been okay on like a What the?
Yeah.
Back in
they really
the day,
need to bring a What the back, but they don't. They can't
do
make
a
fun
Rick
of
Rapp
themselves
with him.
Dude, don't even. I've already thought about Rick Rapp big time. He's my new favorite character all the way.
Probably 90% of the new characters that they've added. I mean, 90% of their anything that they've tried to do that was funny would fit in a What the book. But the problem is then you'd have no content for your actual titles. I mean, fucking what? The goddamn shark from
Jeff the Land Shark?
Jeff the Land Shark?
Don't tell that to Sully. Sully is
he's
gritting his teeth at you right now. Favorite character.
Cody Ziegler's stupid fucking talking.
Yeah, but don't you remember Rocket Raccoon was the same way back in the day? You know what I mean? Now he's a big star, but we were laughing back then, right? Who's this Mike Mignola?
Yeah, everybody laughed at it, and you know what? But here's the thing: they actually took it seriously under Lanning and Abnett.
I understand.
In Guardians, and that's what made it good.
Well, Jeff the Land Shark will be a hit someday, just because of the new Abnett and Lanning or whatever Lansing and what.
Kelly.
I'm still waiting for Kelly Thompson's Bro Doc to come back. That's my big hope.
Oh my God!
So
until they have enough of those to put them in one book.
You read First Strike and you read the Luke Cage book, right?
I did not read the Luke Cage.
I
sold out of the Luke Cage. Was it good?
No, here's the thing. Like in the First Strike book, something happens to Robertson, whatever his name is.
Yeah, Rob.
That is very, very heavy. That where he's not going to be available right now. And like with the first 3 pages of the Luke Cage book, which happens after that, he's in the front of a press conference asking questions. It's like, why didn't you guys talk to each other?
Man.
He's not going to be the guy asking questions because he's got this other thing going on where he just wouldn't be there. It's like, you're 2 issues in and you've already fucked up the continuity.
Man, oh man. Well, all right. So this is what I tell my customers usually, and this is what I tell everybody. If you like something that is an event, only buy the issues that are specifically, dedicated to that story. Assume that it's the skeleton of the story, and everything else is little flesh pieces. Maybe a third appendage or something.
I was kind of excited for the Luke Cage because I like Rodney Barnes. I think the
Luke
Cage outfit looks really bad, but Barnes is a good writer, and he hadn't really worked for Marvel before. I was like, this could be cool. And there's actually something there on the Luke Cage book that could be cool. It just didn't really happen by the end, in my opinion.
I think it might end up decent. I mean, this issue felt weird, like you said. It didn't jive well with the whole gang war, first issue and whatnot. But I think that it could end up being kind of cool in that way that you kind of like, okay, well, it's Luke Cage. I'll enjoy it for what it is and not really care much about how it is going to. But again, it's really heavy on the Fisk Law, which is kind of a joke, but at least, you get them knocking heads. When me and Wes, we talked about it, I said, I just want Luke Cage out busting skulls and things, and you get that a bit.
Yeah, I agree there.
And
this is what Sully has to say.
No, here we go.
I want to hear from you on this one. Howard the Duck got a 50th anniversary, but Luke Cage didn't. I thought that was funny, too.
Yeah.
Luke Cage, I don't know what to say about that. He got a miniseries. Isn't that better?
No, but last year was the 50th anniversary, and he had one series, City on Fire, and it got canceled because whatever that guy had written was so bad.
Oh, that's right. What was it? Hochi Anderson that did that one?
Hochi Anderson, yeah.
But
the Howard the Duck 50th anniversary, the Chip Zdarsky stuff was all right, I guess, but then it's like Kibblesmith and even worse writers as you went along. Mm-hmm. Did you like the Peeper? Did you do the Peeper?
I like the Peeper.
It's like the Watcher's cousin, the Peeper.
Jim's favorite new character.
He's got the giant head like the Watcher and everything, but he's wearing like a wife beater.
Oh my gosh!
Just
really?
Gold chain. He has like a thin mustache.
I was saddened that I sold out. I have to get more of these because I did want to check it out. But yeah, I mean, I sold some really lame comic books this week out, and I'm pretty happy about it.
Yeah, that's a good week. Well, these people were excited.
I'm pretty happy about that. Yeah.
And just to throw in that Spider-Woman tie-in, like you have the Luke Cage Gang War #1. Spider-Woman's just Spider-Woman #1. It's tying in very loosely, but what it really is doing is resolving some things from the Dan Slott end of the Spider-Verse deal and how Jessica Drew got taken out of the Web of Life and her son didn't come back with her. And then at the end, Peter goes, hey, there's this war with these gangs. You want to get involved? She's like, I'm in. That's all the tie-in is, but it's going to be more of a story with her. So if you aren't really interested,
that's destined to be canceled in 5 issues.
Yeah, well, I think it is. It might just be a mini anyway, but it never would have gotten past.
They never announced
either.
it as one.
Yeah, so when we get to the deal, it's only for Spider-Woman deal, and I even saw Sully didn't like the art. It's a real dumpy style for the characters in it. They look kind of odd. But yeah, it's
not Art Germ on the cover, right? Yeah.
No, and it's just the whole deal. Yeah, and somebody was asking in the chat. They didn't kill the son, Gerald. He just didn't come back from the Web of Life. So they're going to be looking through that. That's it.
And then we'll find out that that's Spider-Boy.
I actually thought that's what we'll probably find out. That either he didn't come back because of Spider-Boy, or he's in fact that twisted and turned and is Spider-Boy. So I think you're on to something, Doc.
Man, Jim, you are getting into Marvel. You got Spider-Boy fucking theories and stuff?
Yes. Yep.
No, it's because it's the most obvious fucking choice. Yeah, so that's the way that they're going to go. That is exactly how creative they are. If it's the first thing that comes into my head, they will convince themselves it's brilliant.
And since I am the Spider-Boy expert here, he has been mentioning things that he keeps not mentioning. He keeps saying in these stories to Peter, hey, there's one thing, and then they interrupt it all the time, and I think that...
It's like the Mystique Nightcrawler interaction that was supposed to happen 15 times in Uncanny Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. And then you get a one-shot to... piss you off.
That was the thing that made you the most mad, wasn't it, Jim?
Well,
You've been waiting for this payoff.
Oh my God,
Spider-Man.
It's the only reason I was reading that Uncanny Spider-Man. And then they get to it, and like we have to talk, and then there's a black panel that just says, "And they did."
That was crazy.
I'm like, you son of a bitch! I was so mad. Oh God.
Oh, that's lazy storytelling.
Yeah, very lazy and cash grab extreme.
Exactly, $6 for that.
Screw that.
Yeah. Hey, at least Beast World was cool. I wasn't as on board of Gang War, but Gang War isn't like Night Terrors. When you see the opening, you're like, yeah, this is going nowhere fast. I mean, Gang War should have a bunch of gangsters fighting with heroes trying to stop them. With the right art, it should be fun at least, right? Potentially.
It was a lot of gangsters talking, Wes.
It was a lot of gangsters talking.
There's a lot of talking, yeah.
It's the alpha issue. They hadn't made it to the streets yet. What do the people say? Callum, he's talking to you, Josh. What did he say? I think he's talking about the Waldron guy in the commentary that made you so mad.
It was just the way he was talking about some of the stories and why some of the stories that they abandoned for the film, why they abandoned it, why he chose to make Wanda a villain right off the bat, stuff that he thought was stupid, stuff that they wanted to pull back from concerning Doctor Strange that's actually good storytelling. Just like the whole thing is just maddening. And then like laughing about the fact that they're like wrapping up their shooting and they're like, oh, we don't have a way to end this story with America. I guess just throw her in and let her like practice magic. But he thought it was funny that, it's just stuff like that. Like that's not someone that should be writing. He clearly doesn't
come
care
across
enough
as
about
competent.
these characters. Yeah, he's not competent. He clearly doesn't care about the characters. And these characters have a history. Like, you need to get someone that actually cares. So,
yeah. He also says Tom Taylor, he has this compulsion to sabotage his books with politics, and he can't seem to separate himself from them. And that CNN thing ruined his image.
Yeah.
I think he ruined his own image. It was bad storytelling, but
Wait,
he does have a problem.
Thing?
That was the
John
Kent. Big
Superman
is
is
all over
gay.
the place.
John Kent is Superman.
Yeah. Thing, but he does have he very much gets in his own way. But hey, every once in a while you get a deceased, you're like, shit, there's something there. He's got the ability, and that's what I'm hoping Beast World is.
Well, it seems like he just
yeah.
I was gonna say, it seems like he just needs a good editor. It seems like if he's got a good editor, he can manage to tell a good story. When he has an editor that doesn't tell him no, you get this, bullshit we've been getting.
Beast Boy planting fucking trees.
Can you artfully tell this in a different way so that it doesn't take up 5 pages and 3 issues?
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean that's what the editor would have to do.
Plus, the
How
editor
about
should
doing
say
this?
to him, "Don't set up 18 mysteries in 3 issues. You're not going to be able to resolve them well."
The Titans,
Especially when you're gonna
back in the
cancel.
day, were tree huggers. I mean, they were anti-war and all that stuff in the Bob Haney days or whatever the hell it was, and.
There's a reason when people talk about Titans, they talk about Marv Wolfman and George Perez.
That's
and
true.
not Bob Haney.
You're damn straight. It's New Teen Titans, friends. It's New Teen Titans we're talking about.
Yeah. That's why, a lot of people still say X-Men versus Titans is like the greatest crossover story ever written, right? A lot of people
It's
say
pretty
that.
awesome. I mean, there's other things that I might put a little higher.
Superman,
but
Spider-Man's
as
good
far
too.
as-
I like that one.
Yeah, Batman Hulk is actually good.
Superman Muhammad Ali.
Yep.
Well, yeah.
Boom.
If we're doing outside of Marvel, because he's not a
Flash,
Marvel character.
Colonel Sanders, pretty cool.
There are definitely. I mean, there's
Although
some of those things were good actually.
Yeah, they were.
That
were,
Flash, the
actually.
fucking Flash Speed Buggy book was awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
The
good.
Elmer Fudd
Yeah.
Batman, shockingly
Yeah.
good.
That was really good.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
some things.
Where did that come from?
I think that Future Quest thing was pretty. Oh, that wasn't really a crossover, but those were good. Yeah.
So hopefully
Batman
he keeps track
Grendel.
on this one.
Mm-hmm.
So this will be the last topic we want to talk to. I'm glad that we got to this one. Obviously, we have Yule here who owns Fantastic Comics. And we got the Phil Boyle op-ed. It went out on a couple of sites, and people have not stopped talking about it for 3 weeks. And we got, who was it, Ryan Higgins. He wants the industry to burn down because retailers are all bigots. And everyone's got their opinion on what comic books are supposed to do and way to save it. And Chuck Rosansky had his big thing where he's smoking his own pole. basically for 6 paragraphs in icv2.com. Are you freaking out, or is this just everybody around you?
I'm freaking out more on what the companies are putting out or how they're putting it out. And the fact that, you got Mark Miller coming out and saying, hey, we should pay our employees better. And then Marvel and DC don't. I mean, DC seems like they're doing slightly better as, they are getting some old timey creators, but now, Ivan Rios is like bouncing, it looks like, and they are losing some people. And well, Marvel's not losing anybody except that DC hires them then,
Yeah.
Yeah, they lost Kelly Thompson. Big one.
Yeah, exactly. That's a solid worker right there. I don't know if it's any good, but you got to repave the streets eventually, but you always do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not freaking out. The price points are what's really scaring me, but there's still exciting stuff. We've talked about it before. I mean, geez, if I can say, holy cow, this Beast World is a fun book and it's going to be coming out for 6 months, that's, a good part of the beginning of the year. And then we've got Ultimates and things like that. But again, it's the money that is being spent per customer, per book. For every customer, it's becoming onerous. And when people are saying, man, it's a deal to wait 3 years for a $30 crowdfunded comic book instead of this monthly thing that comes out, there's a problem.
Yeah.
There's a big problem. How is Matt Wagner and Kelly Jones crowdfunding a fucking comic book? You know what I mean? How are they not doing something for DC? How are they not doing something for Marvel? They are making money on crowdfunded books, and they could be doing that with Spider-Man. And it could be anything. It could be any. It's crazy. It's very.
They're making more money, Yule, on their crowdfunding books than they would with DC and Marvel. And DC and Marvel don't seem to want to employ them anymore for some reason.
Well, yeah. So
they're too expensive.
Probably
for what they want to pay. I mean, Matt Wagner he did some fill-in stuff working with Tom King back when he was writing Batman. They're not against having some classic. Kelly Jones has done covers. He did a mini series. He has done stuff. But you're right. Now he's doing the crowdfunded Dracula book, and they are probably making more money. But of course, that has to get handled and shipped out, and then a lot of that money that they're going to be seeing isn't going to be there in the end. And that's where comic books and distribution and stores are still very important. But the thing is that the price point that the companies make the comic books, the quality of the work that's coming out, the not paying attention to the fans that were here or are here, you're eventually going to have to change back to the old ways, and then you're going to be pissing off all the people that came in for the new stuff. So everybody's going to be upset then. They really need to buckle down. But, again, DC's doing those $10 books coming out. Maybe that'll be a good thing. It can happen that things aren't so bad, but I'm not freaking out any more than I would running a small business. Running a small business.
What's crazy?
Is hard.
You mentioned some of these older writers, but even you think of the 2 younger writers that have really emerged over the last decade that can actually sell a comic book. It's James Tynion and it's Donny Cates. Those guys aren't working for DC or Marvel either.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing Substack and fucking Boom. Well, Tynion does Sandman every once in a while.
Yeah. So he doesn't have an exclusive, and he does come back to DC. So it looks like he has still an okay working relationship with them. Yeah. Donny Cates, I don't know what the fuck's going on with that guy. The only other person, and he's bigger than Donny Cates, and he's bigger than James Tynion, he's bigger than Scott Snyder, and we know he's bigger than Jeff Johns.
Oh,
now.
Daniel Warren Johnson.
That's the one. If he can make a Transformers sell, he can go make anything sell now. And that's the one guy. Wherever he goes next, pay attention.
But he only does miniseries. He normally only does 4 to 6 issues or whatever he's doing, and he moves on to another project.
I agree.
But he's awesome.
You can't hang your hat on anything, but he's the only guy that's really super exciting. Although at the end of the show, I'll tell you something I'm really excited about.
But that's a point too. Like we're saying, he only does 6 issues. But if I'm Marvel or DC, I would say, hey,
take it.
what do you want to write, and can we make it kind of an event? Like,
Yes.
but you
but
know,
not
if you
an
don't,
event.
yes, like
But
we'll
an event.
go tell your big story. We'll make it important. But you got 6 issues. Do it.
Daniel Warren Johnson is the event. Always. In fact, he should be called the event. Every time we talk about
That
the
should be
event,
his wrestling
Daniel
name?
Warren Johnson. That's it.
Yeah.
The event.
I've
Pretty
given
good.
this to him. He's more than welcome to take it. Just stop repping for AEW so hard.
You know he's like writing and drawing the comics. Yeah, is there no way he could do an ongoing because of that? What do you think?
I don't think he wants to. He's made it
Yeah.
very, even with Transformers, he was like, I'll do 6 issues, but I'm done.
Yeah, that's what he said, isn't it?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, he likes to do his own stuff. So he does Extremity. He did Murder Falcon.
Do a
Powerbomb.
Do a
Yeah, that
Powerbomb,
was cool.
exactly. So he's
Cool.
going to always want to go and do stuff. But when he goes and does Beta Ray Bill, that he obviously has a love for that character. And even though he's
yeah.
younger than me,
Yeah.
and probably more like Josh's age, right?
The beard says yes.
Yeah, so like he's younger than me, but he has a loving respect for these characters that I grew up and loved, and it's just further
Yeah, I don't
shows
think everyone
you the 80s were the
Realized
best.
his Wonder Woman book, like he wasn't a name then, but his Wonder Woman thing is good too.
Yeah,
I
very
can't
good.
remember the subtitle on that one, but I
Dead
thought
Earth.
Beta
I
Ray
remember-
Bill was
Yeah. that
Dead
I
Earth,
remember
yeah,
at
I
first-
enjoyed that.
Online people were like kind of saying like, "Oh, I don't like this art."
Yeah, the
Wonder
art.
Woman.
the art.
Yeah,
It
you.
takes you a while to get used to. Yeah,
He
But
got slated
once
to
you
begin
do-
with. It really did. Yeah.
awesome.
There is a one panel in Transformers #2. I'm sorry, I'm talking about Daniel Warren Johnson right now so
Oh,
hard.
it's so good.
Where he does an entire. I mean, it's like it's Optimus Prime going from a robot into the truck, right?
Mm.
And it's like it's a one panel transformation,
Mhm.
and juxtaposing that with Incredible Hulk #6, where you
Yeah.
see that transformation, which is over 2 splash
page.
pages.
Yeah.
Holy cow, he uses 10 panels to do it. But Daniel Warren Johnson does it in one panel. He's just amazing.
He
I'm
looks
gonna stop
amazing
talking.
too. Yeah.
That's the
I didn't
event.
realize you were on the Daniel Warren Johnson bandwagon.
I've been
No.
for a long time, but I've also been kind of like pissing and moaning about the new stuff because, multiple covers and stuff. Variant covers.
I enjoyed Transformers 1. I didn't like
Yeah.
Transformers 2 as much. I thought the first 4 pages or whatever were kind of weird. But after that, it was fun.
Mm.
Bambi.
Yeah.
People were
The
like
Bambi
that
thing
a
was
lot,
great.
too. Yeah.
Poor
I know
Bambi.
Gray thought it was amazing. He's like, I cried. I'm like, I don't get it, man.
No, I was the same with you. Issue 1, I loved it. It blew me away. But issue 2, I don't know why. I didn't feel it as much. I don't even know what that was. But the art, you were saying the art is amazing in it. He's so
Once
good
you
at
get
the art.
into the Decepticon stuff, it just business picks up and it's awesome. Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was wanting. the whole
So, no,
time.
I'm not freaking out. The comics are still good. You know what I mean? Look, if Doc's not buying something new, if I can't excite him, I've got plenty of customers I try and excite on stuff all the time. Sometimes they pick it up and they keep going with it, and sometimes they don't. But Doc's going to come in and buy a back issue, so he's still supporting the store. As long as you got customers to support your store, and they love comic books, I don't think the retailers really need to freak out. But there's going to come a point in time when someone doesn't like Magic the Gathering or Pop Vinyls or whatever the hell you have in your store that's like stuff, Pogs. I'm sure there's a store out there that still has all their Pogs.
It's called a pawn shop, dude.
Yeah, well, they
But
have
even
Nintendo
Doc had to
stores,
admit, like
too.
Predator versus Wolverine was good. He even had to admit that Capwolf from the Allen Commandos wasn't bad.
No,
Yeah, I'm
they
seeing
weren't
really good
terrible.
things in chat, too.
Predator versus Wolverine #3 is good. Like it's fun. They do the
Alright.
Weapon X stuff. It's cool. I like. it.
I didn't like it. I thought it was.
It wasn't as good as 2.
Issue
whereas-
2
I thought-
was really good.
like with the look. It was retarded. I'm sorry. The whole it's just the adamantium skull and his eyeballs are gone and
How dare you?
It looked bizarre, didn't it, Josh? It looked a bit weird. Yeah.
So
Skeleton.
stupid.
If Josh was a fucking wrestler, his finisher would be the wet blanket. Oh, God.
Yeah.
This guy.
Oh.
Bummer.
No, Predator 3 is great, man.
Uh.
When it makes sense, the stuff that he throws in there. I was like, yeah, that's pretty good. I like it. I wish the art was a little cleaner and a little bit better, but I can get with it. Defend yourself, Josh. You're an asshole.
We just lost.
Call me
we
out
lost
here?
someone.
Jim can't take your shit
Jim
anymore.
left in disgust. Where's what you saying?
Yes.
Yeah, look.
Fucking-
All I'm
I
gonna
don't
say is
blame
I didn't care for
my
it,
screen might
and
leave.
I found out that Drew and Max also did not care for it. So I was like, all right, cool. I thought I was
Okay.
going to
Listen to
be the
those
odd man
guys.
out here. So, but I kind of
Don't
want to
get
talk
peer
about
pressured into talking crap on good comic books. Man.
this. No, I thought I was going to be the one talking crap about it, and they agreed. I was like, oh, thank God. I kind of want to talk about this because, you know, we're talking about comic retailers freaking out, and Yoel had mentioned like, oh, Beast Wars started off well, and that can be another 6 months. I think the problem is you've got people that aren't going to be there for the 6 month run. You know, I think people, and it's kind of what someone had mentioned earlier. They got burned. They've been burned one too many times. I think you're going to have that run its course, and if the run is good, you might have people be like, oh, okay, yeah, you know, let me check it out. But there's going to be such a hesitation from buyers right now that. I mean,
Well, I wonder. I'm sorry, Doc, but I wonder how these guys that are writing articles and they're observing the industry, I wonder how much they actually read in the comic store these days. I wonder how much they actually talk to customers about actually buying something. Because, you know, for all these people that are championing the superhero comics that are doing all the stuff that isn't like superhero comics, anytime I see them parading around comics that they're selling, it's anything but the superhero comics. And a lot of times, eventually, or sometimes initially, retailers fall away from the mainstream and they only pay attention to the thing that comes out once a year or once every 3 or 5 years. And those are the things they get clout if they champion something they can only sell a few of. Or I'm the store that sells a shit ton of this stuff. You know what I mean? And they've lost their way. A lot of people lose their way. I mean, you see it in channels. Sometimes it's like, I was only talking about comics, and now you're not talking about comics at all, and it's like pop vinyls.
Mm-hmm.
So it
Listen,
doesn't
dude,
sound like Wes's channel.
there's not enough going on in comic books. I have to supplement it.
Yeah,
It's
really.
comic book movie.
I
I
only
don't
review
understand.
comics and I'm failing. So
Hey.
there you go.
No, just don't review every one, Jim. Your fucking things are 5 goddamn hours, okay?
Damn
It's
right.
true.
Damn right.
Jesus,
I did last week's podcast was
saturate
almost
the market
7
with
hours.
bullshit.
But
Man.
here's
People have time to
here's
write great content.
Everything.
look, here's what it comes down to. How strong, how much longevity does an industry have when it's banking on 6-month little band-aids to hold it together?
So
I mean, fuck.
Worst thing for mainstream comic book sales in the store is when the really good creators go and do creator-owned stuff. Because the only thing I can show them is that creator's stuff. Because even if you're a Daniel Warren Johnson fan, you might not really like superheroes, but you're willing to read them for him. But you like his other stuff that he does normally. Like if and it might be like Brian K. Vaughan. He does Saga. He did Runaways. He did Why the Last Man. What else? And the thing is that if he did all that great stuff on a mutant book or a Spider-Man book or an Avengers book, then that makes me want to read other Avengers or other Spider-Man or other X-Men books or other superhero books. Because, wow, there's quality in something that I'm looking at, and then there might be more out there. But when they're only doing creator-owned stuff, it kind of kills the mainstream a lot. And I think that's ultimately why we're seeing Mark Miller coming back and doing some mainstream stuff. Yeah.
And you see that even with the stuff that's even being done, like you're not going to read Alan Scott that's coming out from Tim Sheridan and want to go read other Alan Scott stuff. Or
Exactly. That's
Hawk
even
Girl, like Hawk Girl, or like these things are so wacky and so like askew of what
Removed
normal
from
things
the
are.
history of the
Yeah, the only
characters,
thing
yes.
that you can say is that if you read, say, that Hawk Girl, you'd want to go actually read a good Hawk Girl book, but usually you're just turned off by the character, and DC doesn't realize, especially DC, I think, but the idea where you're not caretaking these characters to then advance sales down the line or now even, and it's starting to be a dead end.
That's why you're seeing I got 3 facsimiles came out this week or for next week from DC. Think about that. And they're going to probably be higher up than that Alan Scott.
You give me the Batman Year One stuff in the facsimile, right?
Heck yeah. First one comes out. I will mail them all together, though.
I've been
I'm
waiting
gonna do
for
a
it. Yeah, absolutely.
5-hour
It'd be
review
like
of it.
$25 on a single issue. In the Philippines.
Only 5, Jim.
5 hours. I'll
But-
redo that.
I'm excited about this. They do good at facsimiles too, but it's bad when that's what you get excited about.
Well, it's nice seeing them. I mean, this Batman book that's like going to cost $8 is like
They're doing
number 5 or
facsimiles of the
something.
entire Secret Wars too, from Jim Shooter.
Yep. Yeah. And that's fun.
That
But
is
it's
fun.
weird that they're
If you
charging
like
$5-6
commercials.
for them.
Yeah, that is weird. But
Yeah, that's not right. That's all.
Well, yeah, I agree. I liked when Marvel had their True Believers program. They were $1 books.
yeah.
And the books that were coming out.
Yes, yeah, they were cool. Yeah.
That was good stuff. And that is one thing that retailers could get from comic companies. How about free editions of those so that we could pass them out? How about very, very cheap editions of those classic books rather than, $8 foil variants and stuff like that? Anything to help us promote your comic books. And, hey, because I have a lot of people that will come in, can you show me something that is Loki? And, well, no, I can't, because anything that was good isn't in collections.
Yeah.
And even the stuff that is coming out now isn't in collections anymore, or whatever, or people, I want Joker stories. And I know the Joker stuff is coming out right now, but there's never that one big fat book of Joker stories that they put out. Every once in a while it'll be like the 80 years of, and it'll be like a $50 book. But no, people actually come in. I just want some Lex Luthor stories. I just want Brainiac stories. He's the main character in this movie. This woman is the main character in this movie, and I don't have a book that just shows me all of their appearances. And that would be another thing that would be really good for comic companies to do, but they're not doing that. So there's reasons to be pessimistic, but sometimes, Doc, you only can look 6 months ahead.
Very much so. Let's hear for the peoples. What happened to the James Tyne and other Substack deals? This is from J.R. Exner. Did they die on the vine? It appears that way, doesn't it? They got grants for like a year to, I guess, proof of concept. It doesn't feel like they proved the concept.
They just to destroy Marvel a little bit more.
Well, they lost
all
the
it
Batman,
succeeded
Rider,
in doing.
X-Men, and Spider-Man all in the same month.
That's
No
right.
big deal. Yeah, but it doesn't appear that it's a thing anymore. Like, I don't know if 3 Worlds, 3 Moons is even doing stuff anymore. From Hickman. Callum says, I am nice on Twitter, don't worry.
Really?
That's how you're back on Twitter?
He
Stop
also
dead
says,
naming it. It's X.
Gray, have you seen that Godzilla Square in Tokyo with the hotel? And have you seen any of those snow monkeys?
I've only seen the snow monkeys on TV, and the Godzilla Hotel looks amazing. I want to go there, but it's very expensive. That's what I've heard.
Are they talking about the little monkeys that steal your shit?
No, there's like these Japanese monkeys that love to take hot baths. They go in the
Yeah.
I've
onsens in
seen
the
those
winter.
guys. They're all,
Yeah.
yeah, they're having their jacuzzis
Chilling.
and shit. Yeah.
I thought the
Hang
ones
out.
that steal your shit were the Philippines, Wes. Or is that India?
No, there's a monkey here in the Philippines. I think there's only one kind. And if you keep them alone, they will go insane and kill themselves. Like, you're not allowed to legally own them as a pet kind of thing. I can't remember the name of them. But when I was in, I think it was Kuala Lumpur, so Sri Lanka, we had the monkeys that were stealing people's water bottles and drinking them and shit. It was pretty funny.
I've
Well,
seen
like
clips
in
of that, yeah.
Raiders of the
Crazy.
Lost Ark? Like that
Yes.
monkey? Oh,
These
that-
monkeys'
awesome.
entire substance was like tourists walking up to see this shrine and stealing like bags of chips. You could have in a snack as you go up. They would just
Yeah.
come and take it from you, and they'd run off and eat it or
Assholes.
drink your water and stuff. They could open up a water bottle. I couldn't believe it. Like, these thieving fucks. But
Those
yeah, we have
opposable
one of
thumbs
the
aren't
craziest
important,
monkeys
you know.
in the world here in the Philippines. You cannot keep them alone. We'll go insane. They got big bug eyes and stuff. Wraith X7, Mystique and Destiny being Nightcrawler's parents was Claremont's idea from 40 years ago. So the writer stole his idea, Doc.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, they were gonna do this 40 years ago, 35 years ago.
But they had good editorial at the time and said, no, that's a bad idea.
They had good editorial. Some of Chris's ideas weren't always perfect. And even if they were going to do it, I guarantee Chris could have pulled it off better. And he also wouldn't have been, completely retconning an existing story. He would have been just telling a story for the first time. He could have found a way to make it work.
But I gotta ask you a question.
Yeah,
we're only doing that from the fight in issue 142, where he sees that she's blue and he's blue, and he's all, "You look like me."
Everybody's blue,
right? That's what it was.
Yeah, that's literally basically.
I mean, she doesn't have a freaking tail. I mean, there's no reason to believe that they're really related.
At that point,
that was just something it was another Claremont subplot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It was one where he seeded it back then, and then basically kind of hemmed and hawed around whether or not he was ever going to use it later on. Because that's what he did. He planted seeds all over the fucking books. Now, whether or not any of them ever grew into a storyline was something that he worried about much, much later, and that he let his editors, honestly, he let his editors keep track of. And sometimes they would just tell him, no, that one's fucking dumb. Don't do that. And I feel like, so yeah, I mean, they did steal it, but
you can't steal from the company.
Yeah, exactly. At that point, the company can, they got his notes from back in the day. That was something. And you know what? Even Chris has admitted that he wanted to do that and that it was probably best that he didn't.
You said they with the Jean Grey thing. He didn't want her to have any repercussions for killing an entire planet.
Yeah, he didn't. And Jim Shooter forced him to.
Right.
So, there was some times where, Chris wasn't always right.
Yeah, just ask John Byrne.
Jose to B says Tim Sheridan blocked me when I questioned his post about CBR claiming he wrote the best Green Lantern story in the last 5 years. I can't take criticism. Well, CBR can't help but just write bullshit stories. Like, what a stupid claim.
You should have addressed CBR, not Tim.
Probably.
In fairness, he probably should have.
Yeah, but even outside of that, Tim Sheridan blocked me for saying like, "Hey, you have people genuinely asking, what's the story about, other than Alan Scott."
You guys had a beautiful conversation,
he still blocked me.
I can't understand it at all. I mean, you guys had a very respectful conversation with each other. It just was crazy. He blocked me. I haven't said word one.
I will explain exactly why. Tim Sheridan's a bitch.
Yeah. I use him on my clips. I clip his "It's time to start the show" for my show. It's great. It's the day of the show.
Caleb says it's called a Tastier Monkey, and I asked about the Snow Monkey because Marvel's Hit Monkey is one of them, and I still recommend watching the cartoon. That's correct. It's a Tastier Monkey. It's not very big, and it's got really big, I don't know, are they green eyes? It's a weird colored eye, but very interesting stuff. Do not keep them as a pet. You will have a disastrous results. I saw Hit Monkey on Disney Plus. I haven't watched it yet. Is Hit Monkey is that the Heat? Great.
Wait, is it on that or Hulu? I can't remember.
I haven't watched it. I can remember the really old monkey magic show in the 70s.
Version of Disney Plus with stuff from Hulu.
Right.
In WWF, I get all the WWF pay-per-views
on Disney Plus.
Yes, the next day. I don't get them live, but it's still pretty cool. It saves me $10 on my WWE network.
I just have Peacock now.
Peacock.
Comics Odyssey. There are indie comics on Substack, such as mine. There you go.
Oh.
There are absolutely comic books on Substack, but it doesn't feel like all the mainstream creators giving up Marvel and DC to go exclusive to Substack ended up taking as a long-term viable plan. But certainly that's another platform where you can go.
Who can name a comic that any of those people did on Substack?
That's it. Is anybody sub to them at all? Anyone subbing? No.
James Tynan, I think, had the the most paid subscribers, and I think Hickman had the most like subscribers. Period.
Okay.
I didn't
I
really
use it
keep
as a newsletter.
my eye on it.
It's great.
Yeah.
And it's
And then-
people see it. It's really good. I don't have to pay any money or anything.
LK says, "Are you okay? Just read that a 7.5 earthquake hit the Philippines and a tsunami warning is issued." So I mentioned this to Yule. I was like, "Hey,
That was a
10 minutes
7.5?
before I sent out the thing, I was like, there's a big earthquake. It lasted for like 45 seconds. But I went and looked at the map, and it's not like where my island is. But we're close enough to be worried a little bit, I guess. But I could definitely tell it was big. I was in Alaska for like 3 years and felt some pretty big earthquakes. And it was like, I was getting nervous. I was thinking about in my head, what am I going to do with the kids as we vacate this building?
Like,
for the exit door. But we're okay.
you know, I'm in Pittsburgh, so not exactly what you'd consider a earthquake area. We had one about 10 years ago, and I was sitting in my office, and I go, was that a fucking earthquake? And it turns out, like I found out about an hour later, yeah, actually it was. It was like 50 miles south.
Well, they had an
It was
earthquake
weird.
in Missouri in the late 1800s, I believe, and the Missouri River flew backwards for a week. It was over an 8. It was an 8 something. It's like the third biggest earthquake ever recorded.
Okay.
So,
Oh man!
Thankfully,
yeah,
I didn't
this
live
is
through that
sporting
one.
disaster over here.
but tsunami is a real
something bad's
thing.
gonna happen.
Yeah, but I was looking at the hot zones, and we're like right on the edge of one of them. So I think we're okay. And I definitely did feel the earthquake though, and I mentioned before I went on the show. I didn't realize how big it was though.
No way.
But thank you very much for showing some concern.
Edge of the
All
Hot
right,
Zone
fellas.
sounds like a Tim Sheridan book. If you,
I'm always in
ask
the
me.
hot zone.
Oh yeah, Josh.
Edge of the
Time for
manhole.
Some comic book recommendations, talking about the stuff that we think people should be reading this week, and give pimp out what you got going here. Obviously, you're at Fantastic Comics. You just had a Joe Casey interview this last week. Got anything big coming up this next week?
It's my 200th episode, and I got nothing
Oh.
for it. So make sure you join
What?
the train wreck that is my 200th episode on Fantastic
Would you like a special
Comics.
guest named Doc for your 200th episode? Maybe he should.
Well, Doc should come hang out anyway, but I would love it. Here's some comics I read. So I didn't read anything this week because I was getting ready for the show. And I also read some other stuff that I shouldn't have read, like this Legion of Superheroes. I read Hulk #6. That was good. This comes out next week. Bloodrick. I highly recommend getting this.
What
If
publisher?
you like fantasy. It's Image.
Okay.
This is from
Okay.
Floating World. It's called Michael Mouse. And he's trying to get the team back together, and there's all sorts of drugs and violence going on. It's sure to get people upset right there.
Well, absolutely.
read-
When your kid picks it up on accident.
It's pretty messy looking, so I think they won't read it too closely. Arcathena #4 was very good, as has
Fuck
the series
yes.
been. Eric Canetti, awesome guy. And he also worked with Joe Casey, who wrote Action Comics 1060, the backup story, which leads into Kneel Before Zod #1, which comes out in January. And I got to read those, and wow. Those were really, really cool. I'm not usually a guy that wants to follow the villains too often, but you want the event. This is an event as far as I'm concerned when you read a Joe Casey mainstream comic book, definitely. And like I said, the next issue of Action 1060 is going to have a backup by him, and then it's Kneel Before Zod in January. I'm really looking forward to that year-long story, and this guy Dan McDade is pretty good on art. So check it out.
Very
And
nice.
my interview with him from last week, also Fantastic Comics.
And definitely show up for the 200th episode.
Oh yeah,
Very
that's
nice
it.
stuff. Definitely do that. Grateful Dog says Savage Sword of Conan returns in March of 2024 with Jim Zub writing this one. He's going to be doing both Conan books. And with as good as Conan the Barbarian is, I think it's a smart choice.
Yeah, it'll be different illustrators also, and then they'll have some Solomon Kane backups, I think.
So they're doing a really good job. Surprisingly good.
Very
That
good.
would. Who else have we got here to talk comic books? Josh, are you recommending people read comic books, or should they just stay home?
No, I've got a few recommendations. I'm a little behind. I didn't pick my books up till yesterday, but Conan, absolutely make sure you're reading it. I also picked up. I've read the first issue. I haven't read the second issue yet, but Edenwood. It's Tony Daniel, and it's a pretty entertaining book so far. So check it out. And then I picked up a book called Crave, but I haven't read it yet, so we'll see if it's any good.
Very nice. Dylan Lindsay says, "Great show. Hope everyone has a great week." Well, thank you very much. I hope you have a good week too, brother. And yeah, hopefully the tsunami does not come anytime soon. Gray, are you worried about the tsunami?
Fortunately not.
You're far enough
I'm lucky
north,
because
yeah.
I'm on the other side. Like I'm on the Japan Sea side, so touch wood. There's not been a really bad tsunami on this side for a long time.
That's where it goes. Are you recommending comic books?
I am. I'm sad to say there's no DC or Marvel I'm recommending this week, but I'm recommending Conan, the same as Josh, issue 5. There's a lot in that book. There's a lot going on, but it is really good, and it's a new artist. It's Doug Braithwaite on that, starting a new story arc. Definitely worth a look. And the second one is Giant Robot Hellboy, issue 2, with Duncan Fegredo on art. It's really great art.
Very nice. You got anything special coming up, or are you just doing the same old on the channel?
Same old. That's it, yeah. My Godzilla reviews did really well, and they've died off now because the big channels are reviewing it now, so they're kind of taking over. But,
oh, you did the Godzilla movie review?
yeah, because for once, it being a Japanese movie, we got an early release for a movie. You know, we normally have to wait like 3 months for anything to come out over here, so that was cool. Lucky timing.
Yeah, the cool thing about the Philippines is normally American movies come out here 3 days before they even premiere in the U.S., like on the early screenings. The bad news is there's no movie theater in my town, so I can't take advantage. Unfortunately. Definitely go check out that Godzilla review if you're looking for some quality stuff and thinking about watching the movie. We've also got Jim for Weird Science. This is 3 days in a row. I've taken up about 7 hours of your life.
Yes.
Your wife probably hates my guts now because I make you laugh too much.
7 hours, that's like half of one of my reviews. I think that you'll
That's right. But she might actually like you even better, Wes.
Yeah,
for
I keep
taking Jim's time.
I stay away. That is true. I'm going to recommend Titans Beast World. I'll tell people to check that out, and also I'll add on to the Conan deal. And to go against Josh a bit, I'll even say Predator versus Wolverine, just because it's goofy fun type deal. I'm enjoying it.
Josh was so out of bounds with that one. I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was disappointing.
Just
All right,
so the deal.
From the man who said Wakanda Forever was the best MCU film of all times.
But
shit on Predator versus Wolverine. One of the few really fun comic books out right now.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot,
So,
Josh.
and I know that people are waiting with bated breath, but I'll have a City Boy review on the channel today for my deal. Probably a little less than 5 hours, though.
Weird.
Yeah.
City Boy, huh?
Everything. Every book. That's the deal. Review them all.
Is City Boy still? Is it not canceled?
No, it ended up finishing this week at 6
That was a
issues. It
mini.
was just a 6-issue mini.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure there are bright things
Fun
in the future
times.
for City Boy.
Yeah.
And
Love
whatever they
tons.
called that little initiative that no one heard of.
We Are Legends.
We Are Legends. That was City Boy, Spirit World.
That was the Stop
The Vigil.
Asian Hate collection.
That as well.
That was the one at you, yeah.
Now, finally, Doc, are you recommending comic books this week?
Well, obviously, I'm recommending comic books. I'm just not recommending anything published, well, this year or week or decade, really. So we're going to go, and this is for you because you're here, sir. And I know how much you absolutely love
9.8.
Yep.
I'd love to crack that.
Stephen Platt, Moon Knight with Spider-Man. Come on,
Yeah, I
this
could
is
use that.
fucking
I could use
awesome.
Yeah.
I actually got this dirt fucking cheap, like
Nice.
$40.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and I was like,
That's a good
all right,
price.
you know what? That's basically the slab price.
Uh-huh.
So sure, I'll do it.
For a
And-
9.8, that's good.
And the back had one of those awesome. Remember these old
Tiger
handheld,
games.
the
those are
handheld
awesome.
Tiger games. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Those are the worst.
this is because this is the first comic I ever started buying regularly.
Nice. Good
This
number.
is X-Men 222. I was one issue late for first appearance of Mr. Sinister. So I had to find that in back issues, later.
Are you excited for Wolverine Sabretooth War?
No, not at all.
Never mind.
No. And then, mostly because it's that whole Victor Laval is still involved, and he's a fucking moron. So, no, nothing that he writes, ever. Then, all right, we got some Mike Zeck Punisher. This is one of those classic Punisher covers. This book is beautiful, and it's in great condition. So if you can find yourself a copy, go out and get it. Then finally, Uncanny 58. So first appearance of Havoc.
Nice.
Also, I think it's the second appearance of Alex Summers, but first appearance of Havoc.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Dude, somebody was complimenting on your Mylars, Doc.
Oh, well, thank you. I do.
Got Mylars to heaven, I think is what they said.
Yeah, I've pretty much switched. I try to get as much of my collection in the Mylar as possible, at least anything that's good. And obviously, I'm not sticking like dollar bin books in there, but yeah. So, been slowly in the process of changing that over. So, there you go. There's my recommendations for the week.
Well, there you go. Well, that's the week.
Cool.
Mylar is beer goggles for comics.
It is. It makes books look a lot nicer. Yes, I have sausage fingers.
Sausage fingers. I also noticed. Has anyone else noticed that Doc sounds like the dude from Me, Myself, and Irene when he breaks his nose and he's like a squeaky toy?
Well,
Yeah,
I'm just getting
watch
over
that
being
to
sick.
remember, but
When he's rubbing it, he's like, hee.
Was that dog squeaking? I wasn't
I
sure.
think it is Doc squeaking, isn't it?
I don't know.
I thought it was Jim.
I'm just getting over being fucking sick, so it would
I
not
think
shock
he's
me at all.
congested.
I'm still
Just a
all
little
fucking
wheeze.
congested and
He's got a
everything.
little squeaky toy to him.
Yeah.
What was the guy in Toy Story? Was it the little penguin?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think he was named Wheezy, right?
Wheezy, there we go. Oh man! So I hope everyone has a good weekend. We got all the college championships happening. I guess Washington just won the final SEC Pac-12
Pac-12.
title, and we've got Big 10, Big 12, SEC, and all that stuff happened this weekend. ACC should be a whole lot of fun. We got NFL and read some comic books. We'll see y'all later. I'm getting out of here.